peace, y'all. True peace. Happy holy day. About to wake it up. Just came out of powerful conversation. Not enough hours in a day, I tell you that, y'all. True peace. Alright, so let's get us started here today. First thing first, I want to give honors to the divine creator. Under whatever name y'all want to refer to the divine creator as. And share the room, of course. Share the room. That's what I'm doing right now myself. So we can enjoy today's host. Alright, y'all. So let's get it started. Share the room, and then we're gonna be jumping into our divine supplication here in a second. We're gonna jump into our divine supplication. Share the room. Happy holy. I'm gonna mod you up, no, so you can monitor the flow for me tonight. All right. So we're gonna get into our divine supplication. But like I say, first thing first, we want to give honors to the divine creator, and whatever name you want to make reference to the divine creator. I want to give honors to the prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I want to give honors to the forerunner of the prophet, Honorable Marcus Garvey. I want to give honors to the leadership and the staff of the prophet, the original leadership and staff of the prophet. I want to give honors to all the leaders that came after the prophet, people such as C.M. Bey, H.I.M Bey, of the Moorish paradigm and the cloak of destiny, the clock of destiny, and the zodiac constitution. Other leaders like Alim Bey, other elders that have made a great impact. Y'all know some names. You want to go ahead and put them in your high honors. I want to give honors to our other leaders that came after the prophet as well, such as Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, your Ami ben Israel, your Yahweh ben Yahwehs, even though they did some things and no one's perfect, but we want to honor them and reverence them for the accomplishments that they did accomplish, as well as Clarence 13X, and just many others. And if you can think of any names that come to your mind, just go ahead and give them high honors. And with that, I want to give honors to all things Moorish, all things indigenous. And let's jump right into our divine supplication for tonight. We can open up the temple officially. True Peace Brother Okolo, I don't know if you want to come on stage. I was going to invite you, but you can. But those that listen to the replay and want to come up on stage, just click that block of words at the top that say World Temple. This is branch temple number 24 of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may learn to love instead of hate. We're linking our people with the family of nations. So let's jump right into this divine supplication, y'all. First, as we do here every week, y'all know how it go. Begin all prayers and thinking by using the all. O Heavenly One, the Most High, who is sustainer of all the world, we do accept the duty you have laid on us to clean up the filth made by the West and its non-submitting fools. O my sustainer, we beseech you to keep your hand over us, to control the streams of the courses of our lives. Our sustainer, and if we do wrong, please show our divine blessings and forgiveness on us. You are the only one that can raise us, true followers of the news bearers, and in thy name, we carry on. All right, y'all. All right. We're going to jump into our daily affirmations. Our 19 affirmations, which you should be reading, we suggest, that you read every day with your family, on your own personal time with your family. These are affirmations that you want to, stick to your belly like butter, peanut butter. Because once you embed these affirmations, which makes things firm, you'll start to see a great change in your mentality, your life, just on a basic sense. We have other 19 affirmations for those that are adept, and y'all should be reading those 19 affirmations here as adepts of the Moorish Science Temple of America, or any adept of any particular temple. We would suggest you to read these 19 affirmations that were subscribed and inscribed by the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z. York-El, which is one of the leaders that we also want to give high honors to and reverence here tonight as well. So with that, we accept this fact is what these daily affirmations are called. They're called the daily affirmation of loyalty of the children of the Elohim. And it states, we accept this fact, the eternal laws of nature as revealed through science, past events, logic, and common sense. Revealed as right knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We accept this fact, the highest laws of nature is the cooperation and harmony of all living things. We accept this fact, our way of life, as a means to the best end. We accept this fact that loyalty is the greatest of all honors and treason is the worst of all crimes. We accept this fact that what is good for the Holy Tabernacle is the highest virtue, and what is bad for the Holy Tabernacle is ultimate evil. We accept this fact that the Holy Tabernacle is the finest and noblest organization for all humanity, created by circumstances. And the ancient and mystic order of Melchizedek is the noblest of fraternities on and above this planet. We accept this fact that creativity, love, and cooperation are the essence of success. We accept this fact that truth and facts are always and has always been the originator and creator of all success. We accept this fact that all worldwide cultures and civilizations came about from the ancient Sumerians and Kamite Egyptians, and the Anunnaki, or Elohims from the heavens, without which there will be none. We accept this fact that for the Holy Tabernacle to survive, expand, and advance, we need first of all a revolution of values and thoughts, which must start within each person by being truthful with themselves and about themselves. Therefore, we completely and categorically reject all myths, fictions, religions, and lies that have not been proven. That would include your heavens, your hells, your hellfire and brimstones, your horn and pitchfork devils, your winged angels, and your old man God character sitting on a throne up there somewhere. We deal strictly with facts. If you can't prove it, we don't want to hear it. That doesn't mean we won't listen to you. Just don't expect us to accept your beliefs by virtue of a title such as Reverend, Pastor, Deacon, Imam, Sheik, Rabbi, Minister, Theologian, etc. That is your sensationalism, and we deal with just the fact. We accept this fact that the only true revolution is a war of good against evil, right against wrong, fairness against unfairness, loyalty against disloyalty, sincerity against insincerity, honesty against dishonesty. And this war is fought within each person among the agreeable and disagreeable Elohims that make up your willpower. We accept this fact that the unity of our community and its success will only happen with cooperation with all involved. We accept this fact, the total unification of all humanity on the basis of truth, that is, accepting people and races for who and what they are, respecting their culture, their languages, and their beliefs, and expect the same. We accept this fact that the human race, its biological and cultural heritage, is now under attack by our own morals, our self-righteousness, our desire to control industry, and these things attack the very existence of humanity. We accept this fact that males as well as females are equal in all things and should be dealt with as partners in all matters. We accept this fact that no one race of people is better than the other. In fact, no one wins the race and racism. We accept this fact that communication between different people is the cure to the ignorance that breeds the disease hate. We accept this fact that a good and well-rounded education could prevent most of the ignorance that plagues the world. We accept this fact that the all is just that, the all. You can't take from the all, you can't add to the all. We are all within the all as one. That is our concept of what you call a deity. To the fulfillment of these facts, we children of the Elohim forever pledge our lives, our sacred honor, and our spiritual zeal. Peace, true peace. So anybody come in, Noble, real quick. If you can, I don't know if you're looking at the PTR, but just help me out. At least until we get through with the opening. I'm about to do the Moorish prayer next, y'all, and the divine constitution and bylaws, which we do here every week, and then we can proceed to our weekly readings, and then we'll be officially open for today's Holy Day Temple service. So with that, I don't know if you heard me, Noble, but if you can, just keep a lookout for those that might be coming in.
Yeah, I got you. I'm handling, I'm driving, and then I'm heading in here to get these money orders to pay my rent, but I
Okay,
am
no
here
worries,
with
no
you.
worries. Okay, cool. Thank you, Noble. So let's do this Moorish prayer real quick. Y'all know how it go. 2 fingers up, 5 fingers up, facing the east, feet at a 45-degree angle. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Amen. All right, y'all. So we're going to jump right into these divine constitutions and bylaws, the divine constitution and bylaws of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And as it states, Act 1, the Grand Sheik and the Chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs of he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, true peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, true peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God Allah. True peace, y'all. Let me bring you up, Brother Jonathan. Welcome. Happy holy day, Noble. Happy holy day.
Happy holy day. Thank you.
Peace, Noble. Hope all is well. Let me get Brother the link. I know everybody in the Telegram like, where the link at? So I'm gonna share this link real quick before we go into the weekly readings. That way everybody could join us. Look like somebody that look like me. I just found somebody that look like me, y'all. I'm like, what is this? Why he look like me? All right. That brother look just like me. That's wild. All right, y'all. So let me share the room into the Telegram, sent to other spaces. Y'all can ping some people into the space, especially those that's coming back and listen to the replays. I want to share the room with people that y'all know, so that way they can tap into this divine wisdom as well. All right. I'm sharing the link so people can join us. All right. Let me put it on our Twitter real quick. Then we can get to this weekly reading. And we got a hot topic today. Try to see if we can get Sister Majestic. If you can ping her, Noble, get her in here with us. I'm about to do one more share. All right. So give me one more second, y'all. I'm gonna do one more share. And we can jump right into the weekly reading. This weekly readings. We can get it started. Yeah. Yeah, that is a task. There she go. Bring you up, Noble. That is a task. I'm about to get some people to help us out with that. Sharing the room to Facebook. I can handle Twitter. I'm about to say Twittergram. I can handle Twittergram.
Nah, I pinged her. My phone is outdated, so it wasn't created with a lot of space. So I be only having one app at a time downloaded when I'm going to be actively using it. So I can't share it to Messenger or Instagram because I got Clubhouse downloaded.
Got you. Hey, we're gonna have to see about that one,
I
Noble.
need an
We're gonna have to help
upgraded
you out there.
phone. You know what I mean? My phone, this shit is a side boost Samsung joint, and it only come with 32 gigs in the phone, bro.
That's wild, bro. That's wild. That's wild.
I was watching Dr. Grease. It's good to see you. I was watching your video that you had uploaded. I didn't get all the way through it, but I need to finish that.
You talking about
It's fascinating.
you talking about when I went
Yeah, you
live on
uploaded like an
Instagram?
hour long video. Yeah, I think so. It's like an hour long. I was like getting halfway through and I finished it.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's the one you're
But,
talking about.
but yeah, it's good to see you. Cool.
All right, y'all. So let's true peace. Let's jump into this weekly readings. As we say, repetition is divine, father and mother of learning. Truly is. So we're going to jump into chapter 25 of the Holy Quran, circle 7, which is called the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation, which lays down a real foundation for the work for those who are a part of the divine and national movement. I think we're going to have a hot channeling today. I won't put too much more than what we can bear, but I will be doing the fiery work of the ancestors today as much as I can get out before I get a distraction to come through. Because you start doing great works, they gotta send all the distractions. I ain't got this many calls in a long time on a regular degular, and it ain't got nothing to do with business. So I know what that means. But with that, we're gonna read chapter 25 of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Holy Quran, Circle 7, illustrated by the Prophet Joy Ali, which states, "Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother had given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all, and your love to each other." I want to touch on something real quick before I get to chapter 47, 48 with that, because it say, if your sister is in trouble, forsake her not. If your sister is in trouble, forsake her not. Our brothers got to understand how key that point is in the scripture. Because I've been talking about some things here for the past 2 or 3 weeks, we could say, especially about our relationships. And like I said, before we came on here tonight, we had a very, very fiery conversation and dialogue. But what I'm getting at, I wanted to say about that particular part of the reading is that if we understand the principles of being gentlemen, what they call G-man, not the government man, but a gentleman, a man who understands being gentle with things that are delicate. If we have the symbology of our women being flowers and understand that, then especially when we're dealing with giving correction, we have to make sure that it's delivered in a gentle form, manner. Not saying don't be stern, not saying don't assert yourself, because you do have some people that will misinterpret what I'm saying and miss the dot. And for sure not saying allow lack of accountability. That's not what's being stated. What's being stated is be gentle in your correction, the same way that you would want someone to respect you and be gentle in their correction with you, especially with the ass of a man that we have as brothers out here today. Because some of us miss those right knowledge for the right wisdom, for the right understanding lessons, and still are out here being asses of a man. With that, let's jump to chapter 7. I'm pitching. Hope you catch. With that, chapter 47 is called Egypt the capital empire of the Dominion of Africa, and it states, the inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham and his family was second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the dominion of Amexem, the first true and divine name of Africa, the dividing of the land between the father and the son. The dominion of Cush, northeast and southeast Africa, and northwest and southwest was his father's dominion of Africa. In later years, many of their brethren from Asia and the Holy Lands joined. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt who settled and inhabited northwest Africa. They were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren who sovereign from the land of Canaan, seeking new home. Their dominion and inhabitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa across Great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands before the great earthquake which caused the Great Atlantic Ocean. The river Nile was dredged and made by the ancient pharaohs of Egypt in order to trade with the surrounding kingdoms. Also, the Niger River was dredged by the great pharaoh of Egypt in those ancient days for trade, and it extends eastward from the river Nile, westward across the Great Atlantic. It was used for trade and transportation. According to all true and divine records of the human race, there is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family, because all the inhabitants of Africa were and are of the human race, descendants of the ancient Canaanite nation from the Holy Land of Canaan. What your ancient forefathers were, you are today without doubt or contradiction. There is no one who is able to change man from the descendant nature of his forefathers unless his power extends beyond the great universal creator Allah himself. These holy and divine laws are from the prophet Zabuwr, the founder of the uniting of the Moorish Science Temple of America. These laws are to be strictly preserved by the members of all the temples of the Moorish Science Temple of America, that they will learn to open their meeting and guide it according to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Every subordinate temple of the Grand Major Temple is to form under the covenant of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and to create their own laws and customs in conjunction with the laws of the Holy Prophet and the Grand Temple. I, the Prophet Zabuwr, was sent by the great God Allah to warn all Asiatics of America to repent from their sinful ways before that great and awful day that is sure to come. The time has come when every nation must worship under its own vine and fig tree, and every tongue must confess its own. Through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery due to the fact that they honored not the creed and principles of their forefathers. That's why the nationality of the Moors was taken away from them in 1774, and the word Negro, black, and colored was given to the Asiatics of America, who were of Moorish descent, because they honored not the principles of their mother and father and strayed after the gods of Europe, of whom they knew nothing. True peace. Islam. So, in a nutshell, we have been chasing false indoctrination, false information, even to the point that we let that same European psychology interpret our ancient creed and divine wisdom for us. So now when we look into, right? You follow what I'm saying?
Well, I was gonna say, it sound like, again, it sound like the street expression of mind your business. You know what I mean? I'm just, I just wanted to put it a little bit more in that as like, because that's what's hitting me. Is like, dang, it just sounds like mugs should have been minding their business and not being in other mugs' business. You been minding your business and following the plays of your team and so forth, then one way of saying the expression is everything might have been a lot better or have a different outcome. But because mugs were so nosy, worrying about other business and all of that, here we are.
Here we are. And I bring that topic up in so many different other concepts and lights of things, but we are yet to understand that as a people. Even when things happen amongst certain groups of people that have no importance to others, people still want to put their 2 or 3 cents on it, like it holds some weight to this basket of gold.
Right. That's
Follow
like
what I'm
that.
saying?
And I mean, consider the theatrics now. You got quote Russia and Ukraine niggas beefing, right? You got them
Uh-huh.
they got some business going on that don't involve the U.S. corporation, as far as I understood. But U.S. corporation, what is this mortal doing? Come on now, mortals. But the U.S. corporation said, well, you know, hey, I'm just a nosy mud sucker, so I'm gonna go get in that business and assert myself, and you know, so it just kind of remind me of that. Mind your business, man.
That's right.
Sometimes you gonna be a nosy and deviling in other people's business. Now you end up becoming a part of that business, and you see that that business is not really the business you really wanted to get into, but now you're a part, and now you and people associated with you are effectively a part of that business. That might not be conducive or in your favor.
Yeah, right. Like Ludacris say, get out my business, my business. Islam. All right, so look, we're
You
gonna
feel
jump
me?
into chapter. I'm with you. So we're gonna continue with chapter 48, called the end of time and the fulfilling of the prophecies. And it reads, the last prophet in these days is Noble Ali, who was prepared divinely in due time by Allah to redeem men from their sinful ways, and to warn them of the great wrath which is sure to come upon the earth. John the Baptist was the forerunner of Jesus in those days to warn and stir up the nation and to prepare them to receive the divine creed which was to be taught by Jesus. In these modern days, there came a forerunner of Jesus who was divinely prepared by the great God Allah, and his name is Marcus Garvey, who did teach and warn the nations of earth to prepare to meet the coming prophet who was to bring the true and divine creed of Islam. And his name is Noble Ali, who was prepared and sent to this earth by Allah to teach the old time religion and the everlasting gospel to the sons of man, that every nation shall and must worship under their own vine and fig tree. There we go again. And return to their own and be one with their Father God Allah. The Moorish Science Temple of America is a lawfully chartered and incorporated organization. Any subordinate temple that desires to receive a charter, the prophet has them to issue to every state throughout the United States, etc. That the world may hear and know the truth that among the descendants of Africa there is still much wisdom to be learned in these days for the redemption of the sons of man under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We, as a clean and pure nation descended from the inhabitants of Africa, do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the families of the pale-skinned nations of Europe, neither serve the gods of their religion, because our forefathers are the true and divine founders of the first religious creed, for the redemption and salvation of mankind on earth. Therefore, we are returning the church and Christianity back to the European nations as it was prepared by their forefathers for their earthly salvation. While we, the Moorish Americans, are returning to Islam, which was founded by our forefathers for our earthly and divine salvation. The covenant of the great God Allah, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be longer upon the earth land, which the Lord thy God Allah had given thee. Come, all ye Asiatics of America, and hear the truth about your nationality and birthrights, because you are not Negroes. Learn of your forefathers' ancient and divine creed, that you will learn to love instead of hate. We're trying to uplift all of humanity. Come and link yourself with the family of nations. We honor all true and divine prophets. So we hear the reiteration of that again. Get out my business, my business. Come into your own vine and fig tree. So when the prophet says Islam, he not just talking about what you know of as Islam, and you have these three orthodox religions today that have engulfed the world, and then you have what today is known as Christianity, which a lot of people think is the dominant religion across the world, which it actually isn't. You have religions bigger than Christianity and Islam together. Islam is a divine creed, not just a cultural norm and tradition. Islam is a part of the divine way of nature, the divine law of nature. This is why I say we can say Millia Ibrahim, we can say Deen el Islam, but that is just the doorway for you to get to Deen el Aliyul, the way of the source, the way of Allah, the pathway to Allah, the pathway to God. That's just the doorway. Al Fataha, as we read past this past couple holy days. the door, the opening. That's just the opening. Can you make it past the door? And we was talking about something real special just earlier, like I said, in that fiery conversation I was having with Doc and Noble Majestic. And that doorway popped up earlier in our conversation. And this door of your choices. As we read here every week in the opening of the temple, is what we accept as fact. What Elohims are you choosing to allow control over you? That makes up your willpower. That makes up your choices on a day-to-day. Even how you understand things, how you define things. It all goes down to the will, because we talk about it's the energy, it's the energy, it's the energy for me. That's what our youngsters is saying. So that's the trend today. It's about the energies. Energy makes up everything. Well, what about the state of Allah? The state, when you're in a certain state. Because energy and motion becomes emotion, which we know. And energy and motion can be misinterpreted. That we know. Our people out here feeling certain things. They feeling things. We be feeling. We are feeling people. We show are feeling people, especially with how sensitive we are as a people, and having that melanated connection to nature. We be feeling things. We be feeling the earth. We feeling the aspects of the stars and things. We be feeling it. They got, we got these divine gifts that we have as a people. But I want to jump into this state of Allah, as we touched last week on the redemption, what it's about, and how you never stop learning in the bosom of Allah, which is that state of Allah. I want to talk about this because we need to understand that we are a theocratic body politic people. What that means? That doesn't mean theocratic in the sense of how they mean it in the layman terms. Theocratic in politics means that your jurisdiction, your community is ran by, whether you want to say divine nature, whether you want to say God, whether you want to say earth, the forces, the spirits, etc., etc. It don't matter. And when you stand on that, why is so much power in it versus succumbing to what the scientific community says? Well, God doesn't exist. We haven't proved the essence of God, so therefore God cannot be a part of law. But in that same breath and parallel thinking, you have the fact that we know that there's a divine intelligence that grows these organelles. You got eukaryotic, and other types of cells, other type of microscopic, organisms and forms of intelligence. And other more deeper microscopic levels, energies and parts, atoms, particles, and things that make up those things, all the way down to your smallest particle, which deals with your quarks, your biaps, and your zales. Now they even found more different types of quarks. You got triquarks. It's just getting crazy with the quantum physics, but it's still a quark nonetheless. But it's just a different type of particle that they haven't found yet or discovered, right? But nonetheless, it's still a quark. For those that don't know what these are, quarks is Quark. You can look that up. And a zale is Zelles, and a biap is BIAPS. And this takes you deeper into quantum physics, the study of subatomic particles, things of that nature. Getting deeper into the science as we understand it, which we, as the descendants of the ancient ones, should know these things very good and well. We should start looking at things from a new logical perspective, as I've been saying here for the past couple of weeks. So that way, at least you're able to stand up, if tried and tested, willing to be tried, never denied, to be tried again, again, and again, and again, to say, hey, I know that information fundamentally. I get it. I get it. That's when you know you're in the state. That's how you know you're in that divine state. Especially when you're not worried about what you're going to say, worried about how you're going to do it, and what you're going to do. I'm not saying just hang loose and don't give a care about how you do things. Because how you do the little things is how you do the big things. How you do the small things is how you do the big things. But being in that state where you know what you know, that you know that you know. And we, as wise men and women, should know we don't know nothing at all. We don't know nothing. Nothing. But we should know what we know, that we know what we know. Because right is right, wrong is wrong, simply.
And wrong is wrong.
You know what I'm talking about? So we don't want to get caught up in missing the higher wisdom that comes through being in that state. Like I said last week, people think, hey, I've been in the temple, I got my paperwork done, I don't need to come back to the temple, I'm good, I'm a sovereign, this, that, and the third. There's a suzerainty and there's a sovereignty. And I was supposed to give y'all some homework last week, but I'm gonna give it to y'all this week. It's a movie that I was telling y'all to go and watch, that talk about some of the things that are taking place right now that they're prepared for. The movie is called Harris Bergerson, or Bergerson. It was made in 1995. It's a good movie to watch. I'll put the link in the chat before we leave out. I'm also gonna put the word suzerainty in the chat as well. I see the Lawrence has joined us. So so as we dive in tonight about this state, first thing first that come to mind is understanding who you are first, and making sure you do understanding who you are and what you are. Because like I say, you have these intelligences that go down to the subatomic level, but understanding that you too are an organism, a part of that ecosystem or chain of life. You are a part of it. But what are you and who are you in that chain? Now, this is the key to this. Because like I say, energy, emotion, we be feeling what we feeling. Animals feel too. Animals got senses. Your body got senses. We be feeling. But what state of mind are we in? Are we in a state of what they call nous, knowing? Are we in a state of divine wisdom and knowledge? Hold on, let's bring up Barnabas. All right, I'm trying to bring him up. But so, what state are we operating in? This is why I say the more we get into things from a new logical perspective, you'll be able to transcend these cycles of energy and motion. Are you controlled by your animal instinct, or that state, of divine knowledge and wisdom? More people are more succumb to the animal forces of nature than they are those divine intelligences. They even get to the point where they try to separate spirituality from what we call religious in a sense of tradition, not etymologically, but in modern day layman terms definition. Like I say here every week, religion is simply the commerce of your culture. It's not about what you tell me your religion is and what book y'all read and this, that, and third. It's about what do you do. This is how we know who you are, what you are. This is how we know who we are and what we are, whether we want to face reality of it or not. It would be a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow, because they can say they're a minister and doing ministry and giving ministry, but when you doing ministry, you doing ministerial work, unless it's something just basically simple like certain administrative things. Cool, I can understand. You do that every once in a while, yada yada yada. But when you have that obligation to be a minister to a body of people, a calling of people, you're there to be their leader, their teacher, their example, what we call imam in Arabic, for the one that's out front. Somebody got to set the example. Somebody got to be able to translate it for you, speak the layman terms for you. So this is why I say, what state are we in? Because we have today, many people that come into some type of spiritual program, structure, whatever it may be, especially a lot of these mindset coach programs, like, that didn't work for me. It didn't work. Well, how it didn't work? Did you actually apply the teachings? Did you actually apply the lessons, even when you felt like you in that feeling of not wanting to do it and not wanting to perform it? Did you actually apply the lessons, even in the time that you supposed to apply it the most? Because as I mentioned here before, plenty of times, 9 times out of 10, a lot of these programs do got good sound structures to them. Now, I'm not talking about no occultic stuff. A lot of the occultic jargon people spew out. I'm talking about real sound practices of meditation, healing, wisdom, sound therapy, water therapy, those type of things on the regular. We look at what the Christians do with the baptism and forget that's an ancient custom and practice of those who know the divine creed. That's why the prophets say, keep your minds clean and keep your minds clean and your body clean with water. Not just taking the bath, but the therapy that you can do also with water. Same thing with the fire. This is why I say these past couple weeks, we sifting for those that are trying to tap in to that divine state, to the truth, the prana. They call it gnosis, to the state of knowing. They call it nous or gnosis. We call it nous or noon for us, actually. But you had the word kind of change over time and shift to gnosis, and then you got agnostic and other things that came later on with that from the different philosophies that came out of our ancient natural philosophy. And a lot of us has lost touch with these sacred things, these sacred principles, these sacred laws, not just natural law. Remember, I said before, you have natural law, then you got supernatural law. Them laws that come with those things that are natural. You got some people tapping into the supernatural law, allowing themselves to be controlled by supernatural forces. Going back to, like I said, the wills, or those Elohims that make up your willpower. Are they Elohims that control the animal body and pertain to animalistic cultures? Because as we have read in the Els Holy Injiyl in this congregation, there was a message sent to 7 churches, and they each one had an Elohim, Sahatra or Buddha, whatever you want to call him, being the Elohim of his congregation, or one of those congregations of Asia. And if we are those Asiatics, as we mentioned in the Holy Quran questions, 101s, then who are these messages to coming from the anointed one, the one sent, the Messiah? These are his questions, or not questions, but some of the questions that were in the actual letters, but these are his messages from him to John to those 7 congregations of Asia. Are we not those Asiatic olive tone people? Like I said, even down to the hybrid of us, with your Indians or your Hindu, and even down to the Europeans, the Greeks, and those that follow mysticism. This is why I say we're going into the state. What state of mind are you in? The state, because that's real important. It's the emotion could cause you to miss a lot of right knowledge, right wisdom for the right overstanding. It could also cause you to miss when you need to get your butt away from something. Because this is what ignorance is, ignoring the facts. And then if you turn that into arrogance, now you got your ego and you still ignoring the facts. So now you just being egotistical about ignoring the facts with arrogance. And that's a lot of what we deal with. And that's a lot of what we run into. This is why I said this past holy day, we got to get into these scriptures from a new logical perspective. And that's what it's time for. We have a lot of delivery of our story in a Hollywood version. As I mentioned before here, we don't want your man-made wars. We don't want your gender wars. We don't want your economic wars. We don't want your financial wars. We don't want your educational war. That don't belong to us, people of peace. When we understand the Most High is not the author of confusion, you cannot make sense of confusion. It's confusing. It ain't for Confucius philosophy. It's confusion. This is why we honor all true and divine prophets. Even if you look at the messages to the 7 churches, especially what the Messiah said about them and the Buddhist congregation. They not off. They teachings is cool. Only thing they missing is respect and reverence for Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, the source, Natir Shinatiru, divine mother nature, divine nature. That's it. Nothing wrong with being balanced. Balance is okay. But understanding and respecting Patimta, El Kalun, the all, however you want to look at it. That's just simple and plain. So when you have people that come along and feel like we need to not pay attention to those facts because this new epistemological saying or modern day saying for something that's rooted rooted in ancient wisdom and facts and processes and formulas of nature, you gotta step back and be like, where is this, coming from? A lot of these things we don't need to be out here entertaining, especially today, because we got people who got a presence, spend a lot of time in front of our people, getting paid by our people well into the thousands of dollars just to talk and give good information, great information. But now when we look in today and we do the ledger on it, we do the audit, we look at the ledger on it, and we do the auditing of it. Where has any of this progressed us forward as a people? Are we comfortable with just being conscious and aware of things for entertainment purposes? Because that's all it's gonna look at. I mean, boil back down to is it look and sound and smell like entertainment. And we get a kick out of creating more divide and conquer. This is why I kicked off first with, let's pay attention to what it said. Don't forsake our sisters if they are in trouble. Especially the wrong knowledge could get your butt in trouble. Misinformation could get your butt in trouble. It can cause you to lose a lot of time. Cause you to get caught in that same deviation that those that do not have a respect for the divine creator don't care if you get off your path. I
Whoa.
got kicked out, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa, here you go.
Nah, I'm here.
They be hating. Hey, what's up? I Cabaret in the building.
Yeah, I was trying to bring.
Y'all bring him up. Hey, you got kicked out again? Yeah, reset your algorithm. Brother Lawiy, you know if you are talking, you are on mute. Just in case you got back in your flow. Didn't know. Too good. What's up, Brother
Definitely ended
Jonathan?
class. I was just saying, it was definitely ended on an awesome note there. Kind of brought the whole thing full circle from the premise of the start of all this communications today. It's interesting to think, like, I don't know, for me, like, looking at it in the perspective of the Elohim and then looking at the modern age that we have now, and you have your CEOs and your different business folk, you're, playing their parts to be able to orchestrate the different positions that allow for us to have these capabilities to even communicate here, all the layers of a society. I've had my work and serving tables, you get that sense for, meeting people's needs if they have, or they say that they, need this, this, and this, but you have 3 or 4 tables that you're dealing with. After a while, there starts to become this divine presence that interacts with you to be able to get through the night because it gets so intense. And I don't know if a lot of people are aware of it or not. It's kind of like how the Star Wars be hinting on, like, people force sensitive, people who are really good pilots are possibly force sensitive, but no one really knows, and they're not actually defined as being force sensitive. And then you have the Jedi's who are defined as being force sensitive. But nature has a lot of different layers, and our world, there's a mysterious aspect to our world. So definitely taking a wondrous approach to information and people, but not getting lost in the currents for sure. True, I think Lawiy is back.
Yeah, I'm back, y'all. That was one of those distractions.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if y'all heard what I said, but that was the last thing I was saying. And then I dropped my phone the other day, so I kind of messed it up a little bit here. But let me make sure. Can y'all hear the meditation still? I don't know if y'all can hear it. Let me put the meditation back on for us. All right, so what I was saying is we get caught up in these distractions, these deviations, and we get caught up off the path, the path to where we're supposed to be heading for, or the mindset that we're supposed to have. Now we know everybody ain't gonna think the same, do the same, and all of that, good stuff. That's totally understandable. We lose Dr. I think we lost Dr. Trees, but we know they're not gonna be on the same path as far as people dressing the same and all that kind of stuff. We don't have to have all that for us to really understand the path of peace, the way to the Most High. But I do want to jump into these scriptures tonight. Okay, I got you, Dr. Kaba. I just now read the message. Let's jump into these scriptures, y'all. I don't know what happened to Dr. Dries. He'll jump back in. But this leads us to our holy instructions, which we're supposed to go over here every week. Prophet left us with some instructions for the religion, the prophet religion, which is that everlasting gospel of the sons of men. And that's an old saying that means something way different than how it's worded, but things like that could get us caught up, misunderstanding the point of us being the sons of Ray. Like we like to say, the reason.
What'd you just say? I'm missing.
I was just talking about how we're gonna jump into some of these scriptures for now. I was just closing out with, we get caught up off the path that we're supposed to be on because of deviation. That's all. But then I had opened up the library here on the phone, and the first thing that popped up was the Holy Quran Circle 7, the Holy Instructions. And I was saying this, we're supposed to go into these Holy Instructions here every week, because that's basically what, talking about this deviation thing leads us into, is these Holy Instructions that we was given. So I wanted to kind of go into that for us here. And we're going to do our portion tonight on El's Holy Quran and get into that too as well. But I was opening up this Circle 7 Quran because talking about this deviation thing leads us into these holy instructions. The Prophet gave us instructions on sincerity. The Prophet gave us instructions on religion and how things are pertaining to those holy instructions, which actually talks about things we discussed now, because like I said, a lot of people try to separate. They try to separate spirituality from religion, and like I say, religion is nothing but the commerce of spirituality. Simple, just the business. Mentioned it here before. We are in the business of saving souls. We got a job to do. This is not just a one-time thank you, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, and oh, I'm minister such and such, and this. But what are you doing ministerial work of, especially consistently? So that's key when we talk about these points. And we are a body of politic of people that's theocratic. So this is the pertainance to us being involved with our temple here every week, not just every week, but all the necessities included. So that means anything pertaining, even if it's stuff outside of temple number 24, anything that pertains to the one temple, one prophet. Want to thank Sister Majestic again for dropping that wisdom, that knowledge on us, that information on us about HR 1203 from Georgia. You got HR 0689 from Illinois that's giving the Moors, and specifically the Moorish Science Temple of America, public and lawful acknowledgement, not just of Holy Day week, but acknowledging the fact that we are a sovereign theocratic government. So that means we are a nation state of people. This is why I'm going into what is our state of mind. Where are we at? Because your state does not change because of emotionalism, animal logicisms. It doesn't change the state of being. This is why I say we have to start stepping and looking at these divine records from a neurological standpoint, not just playing the guessing game if they have validity or not in our lives, especially when we had somebody do the work. Because like he said, hey, I need to know, y'all playing with a brother's soul, so I need to know if this is something that affects my soul, then I need to get down to the bottom of it. So what we gonna do here is get down to the bottom of it. But for those that want to do the work, we here to sift between those that are here to do the Quranic work, taking that holy breath. The holy breath is not just us sitting in the circle meditating saying kumbaya my Lord either too. It's also us coming together about the truth. Not here to argue over distinctive facts between each other. That's not what we're here to do. Like I say, truth don't belong to nobody, but facts can. Those are your facts. We have the saying that, well, look, I'm speaking my truth. All right, cool. I get you. I get where you're trying to come from. But 9 times out of 10, it might not be the truth, but just how they seen things take place. Because you got what actually happened, what actually conspired, transpired, not conspired, but transpired. And then you got what somebody has conspired in their head and said that happened. You got your side, their side, and the truth. And with the factologists that help lead us to the path that we're on, we want the truth. Truth is Allah. Truth is art. You got art and you got not. You got something. You got somethingness, and then you have the state of nothingness, where you find the source, that divine, that higher divine intelligence that creates worlds, that creates planets, mountains, streams, lakes, all these different things. Organism is created on that same band of life as the divine creator lives eternally. So with that, I wanted to read chapter 35. here from the Holy Qur'an, Circle 7, which states, there is but one Allah, the author, the creator, the governor of the world, almighty, eternal, incomprehensible. The Son is not Allah, though his noble image. He enlightened it, the world with his brightness. His warmeth it, giveth it life to the products of the earth. Admire him as the creature, the instrument of Allah, but worship him not. To the one who is supreme, most wise and beneficent, and to him alone belong worship, adoration, thanksgiving, and praise. Who had stretched forth the heavens with his hands, who had described with his fingers the courses of the stars, who setteth it bounds to the ocean, that it cannot pass, and said unto the stormy winds, be still. Who shaketh it the earth, and the nations tremble? Who dareth it his lightnings, and the wicked are dismayed? Who calleth it forth worlds by the words of his mouth? Who smiteth it with his arm, and they sink into nothing? O reverend the mighty, O reverend the majesty of the omnipotent, and tempt not his anger, lest thou be destroyed. The providence of Allah is ever all his work. He ruleth it and directeth it with infinite wisdom. He had instituted laws for the government of the world. He had wonderfully varied them in all beings, and each, by his nature, conformeth it to his will. In the depth of his mind, he revolveth it all knowledge. The secrets of futurity lie open before him. The thoughts of thy heart are naked to his view. He knoweth it, thy determination, before they are made. With respects to his presence, his prescience, there is nothing contingent. With respect to his providence, there is nothing accidental. Wonderful is he in all his ways. His counsels are inscrutable. The manner of his knowledge transcended it, thy conception. Pay therefore to his wisdom all honor and veneration, and bow down thyself in humble and submissive obedience to his supreme discretion. The Father is gracious and beneficent. He had created the world in mercy and love. His creatures of his hand declare his goodness, and their enjoyment speak of his praise. He clothed them with beauty. He supported them with good food. He supported them with food. He preserved them with pleasure from generation to generation. If we lift up our eyes to the heavens, his glory shineth it forth. If we cast them down to the earth, on the earth, it is full of his goodness. The hills and the valleys rejoice and sing, fields, rivers, and woods resound his praise. But thee he had distinguished with peculiar favor and exalted thy station above all creatures. But thee he had imbued thee with reason to maintain thy dominion. He had fitted thee with language to improve thy society, and exalted thy mind with powers of meditation to contemplate and adore his immutable perfection. And in the laws he had ordained as the rule of life, so kindly he had united thy duty to thy nature, that obedience to his precept is happiness to thyself. O praise his goodness with songs of thanksgiving, and meditate in silence on the wonders of his love. Let thy heart overflow with gratitude and acknowledgement. Let the language of thy lips speak praise and adoration. Let the action of thy life snow thy love to his law. Show thy love to his law. It says snow. And the law is just and righteous, and will judge the earth with equity and truth. He had established his laws with goodness and mercy. He shall not punish the transgressors thereof. O think not, bold man, because thy punishment is delayed, the arm of Allah is weakened. Neither flatter thyself with hope that he weaketh it at thy doings. His eye perceiveth it, the secrets of every heart, and he remembered it them forever. He respected it not the persons or the stations of men, the high and the low, the rich and the poor, the wise and the ignorant. When the soul has shaken off the cumbrous shackles of this mortal life, shall equality receive from the sentence of the just, everlasting retribution, according to their work? Then shall the wicked tremble and be afraid, but the heart of the righteous shall rejoice in his judgment. Oh, fear Allah, therefore all the days of thy life, and walk in the path which he had opened before thee. Let prudence admonish thee, let temperance restrain, let justice guide thy hand, benevolence warm thy heart, and gratitude to heaven inspire thee with devotion. These shall give thee happiness in thy present state, and bring thee to the mansions of eternal felicity in the paradise of Allah. This is the true economy of human life. So Spirit just say read that real quick, y'all. I ain't know that all that chapter said that there right there. I ain't know that. I ain't know that. Here we go again. I ain't know that. But it's everything that we touching on. I'm just going off what Spirit tell me to say for the day and making sure the message get heard. Spirit say go into the Circle 7 Qur'an before you go into that else Holy Qur'an tonight. I clicked on the library, first thing that popped up is the Holy Instructions for Religion. Oh, okay. Spirit say read that right there. Read that. And it says everything that has been spoken on tonight. So what state are you in? Don't worry. Be happy. Habi being one of the ancient Egyptian deities of the Messiah of ancient Egypt called Haru, and Geshtu if you read deeper into the ancient tablets. But these concepts are what we have today, because the things that we misconstrue and we have to understand as a people, even if we dealing with stories that have been refurbished millennial after millennial, time after time, a lot of these stories do take place over and over again because of human nature, because of animal logicisms. As I was talking about last week with the rivalries, the rivalry between Cain and Abel, Osiris and Set, they play out over and over and over again throughout time. But are we to fixate our mind on these things, or are we to focus on that divine state? So we get caught up in these distractions. Some of us think we didn't got it. I got too much knowledge. I done graduated from the temple. You done graduated from the temple. Where you going? Where you going? You done got too, your spirit and soul done got too big for the temple. When you in the bosom of Allah, whether you acknowledge it, realize it, or accept it or not. Even the atheist playing God games, because if you look at the word atheist, it means a theist, means a god. They simply just deists. They think they deals. So whether they have faith in a divine creator or not, because faith is not a thing for argument. It's the door. It's only the door, but you gotta open the door. And I don't want to TD Jake Shaw to death, but you just gotta open. You gotta open the door. We had a song. It's a song. I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all know it. This is a song me and my mom used to listen to back in the day, especially when we're going through some things. It'd be like everything heavy on you, and then all of a sudden that song come on the radio, There's some troubles in life that weigh you down. And you'd be like, oh, okay, wow. That's wild how that happened. But when you moving in a state like prophecy or the prophet say, man, everything he do it through spirit. So that means we not writing no program out before we come in and do this. This is straight straight what they call freestyler. But we do have a set structure that we're supposed to go by. But there's no set topics. Oh, we talking about this week, and we talking about that next week, and this, that, and the third. It just all ciphers into each other, 360 degrees. How everything does naturally, just beautifully. If you just let things be naturally, kun fire kun. So y'all get a gist of how we kind of operate here in the temple, how things been going week to week, and they're gonna pick up as we continue to do certain things. Cause I got some things I'm working on right now, drafting. People calling me like crazy today that I couldn't pertain to, because I was in a fiery discussion and conveying a message that the higher ups, those on high, need us to lock in our solar plex, in our spirits, and move on it in our spirit, in the name and the vibration and the essence of our spirit. These things need to be moved on, focused on. I don't care if you gotta tunnel things out. People can tell you that know me well, when it comes to getting this work done, I will tunnel your butt out. You know what I want to say, but and focus on what I need to focus on to get us to the next stage. Because somebody got to do the work. And it's funny, as far as like this chat GTP thing that came along now. They saying one of the top 5 jobs that's gonna maintain itself is being a minister. Religious leaders, they won't be losing their job. Those are one of the most secure.
Nah, because people, I say because people will always, a lot people, people always seeking some guidance. You know what I mean? Need a little
Talk about it.
direction from from others who may be a little bit more adept where they may not be. So that demand of servitude or service offered, right? Because when you really, I'm about to really hit some genes. When you really look at the duty or responsibility as a higher vibrational, you are in the business of service. If I, just flow with the language. I know I said business, but you feel what I'm saying. You are in
Yeah, I mean,
the profession, the duties of service. That is of the greatest matter, is your service, your giving back. It's like what Yannon asked me back in 2005 when I was down in my little room when I had this house and I only had 2 children. The mugs who are here right now, my 2 oldest, natural reason. I only had them, and I was down in my little man cave room, and I pulled out one of my study binders, the same binder that I have right here with the picture in it. And I was looking at the picture I took out of the front of the Let's Set the Record Straight. And I was looking at the picture, and I was thinking about my teacher, and let's get back to my point. And then my pineal gland started vibrating, because they say your ears is ringing, but like I share with people, is you got to have that discernment between your pineal gland ringing and activating and an outside influence interfering with your harmonic vibration, which is resulting in that ringing sound. So you got to know the difference between the two. But my pineal gland started vibrating, and then Yana said, "You see what's going on? What? You know what I'm saying?" Like he said, "What is your offering?" Right? That's what Yannon asked me while I was looking at the picture and in that telepathic communication. He said, "What is your offering?" And that right now, as we speak, is bringing me back to the religious ideological practices that are in those varying scriptural forms or text forms that speak about beings, people of earth, making offerings, right? We read that in the Exodus chapters or whatnot. We read of these formality of different types of offerings. You know what I mean? And so he asked me, what is your offering? What are you giving back? How are you showing and proving your 360 cipher on the 360 square? How are you showing proving that? You know what I'm saying? And then he brought out the question or the statement, excuse me. And he said, you need to develop your courage. And in that state, I was like, what you mean? Like, I ain't no bitch ass nigga. You know what I mean? And that's like literally we in conversation. That's why I said, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we in telepathic conversation. You know what I mean? I heard my teacher in the flesh, you know what I mean, use some profane words. So I mean, we here. It's all good. It's the hood, nigga. You know what I mean? So I asked him. Or he asked me, you know, where's your courage? Like, you know what I mean? He's saying, yeah, my bad. He made a statement. You need to develop your courage. And I was like, what you mean? Like, I ain't know that thing. And he was like, nah, I ain't talking about that courage. I'm talking about that courage to stand on your square by any and all means necessary in the presence of any and whoever in this earth meet suit, regardless of their title. Just like how he did. You know what I mean? Because that's what he told me in the scroll in 2010 was I'm trying to have you become a master as myself. You know what I mean? Another or an aided or an additional master teacher on this plane. And the true mastery on this plane of Nasut, solid, liquid, and gas, is knowing that our position, not everybody, our position as the caretakers on this plane. You know what I mean? We the Care Bears. Care Bears stand.
Islam.
We the Care Bears. You know what I'm saying? From the Care Bears to the animal care friends or whatnot. With the different, you see how each of them was like the elders. They each had their own attribute of expression.
Yes.
Like the 99 attributes. They each had their own, or were not so much that they each had their own. They were each an expression of attributes that we see them. And even here, it was a cherubim. He was still of the rank. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I just get a little flowing sometimes. I do my best to try to make a mental check on some of it. But yeah.
Islam. Islam as well. True peace, no oversight.
Yeah, I land.
Nah, go ahead, Doc. I was just giving honors to the noble down there.
Yeah, no doubt. Peace.
You are in the matrix too, by the way. I don't know if that's just me on my end.
Her
Probably.
picture and started
Can y'all hear him, or is that
following her
just
because
me?
she's new to this. It keep popping up at the bottom saying poor signal and all that every now and then.
Okay, so it ain't just me. All right.
Yeah. But in line with what you saying is, what is your offering? What is your giving back? What is your expression of gratitude for what existence has done for you through the adverse hardships and challenges that we've experienced on this planet? You know what I mean? What is your offering of gratitude? And how are you showing that in the heart and intention of your actions?
Right.
I hope it was coming through clear.
Yeah, it's coming. I'm getting. I can hear you.
Okay.
I'm sure they can.
Okay, roger that. So I land right there because I'm in the kitchen getting my mix on here before I go pick up other children of mine. So I land right there.
I'm with you, Noble. Now I appreciate the contribution, and that's what this is about. Like I said, I don't want to be here parakeeting y'all. This is a temple of the God, the Natir. and how we operated in ancient times is question and answer. So if you have a question, please feel free to chime in, interject. Uh, we just ask you do it respectfully, peacefully. That's all. Like the brother said, we are carrying bears from Big Bear constellation. If you catch my pitch. But um, with that, we are gonna go into chapter 9 of El's Holy Injiyl. But I want y'all to notice how these things line up with each other, because, like I say, I didn't, you know, uh, I didn't pre-plan what we're gonna talk about in the Quran or none of those things, and that ain't something that I sat down and said, well, this is what we're gonna talk about this week. This the speaker we gonna have this week. Even though I prefer to get into that, at least that, penciling in who will actually be speaking for the week. But at the same time, it really don't matter, because if you got something on your heart and you on this stage, it's, especially for those that's gonna be listening to the replays and come back hearing this, as we say every week, we want y'all to listen to everything that we talk about here, because you're not you're not uh you're not gonna miss out from things being untouched on, because the way we were taught was to touch on everything above and under the sun. We talk about one of the best. Even the prophet gave a precursor to a way to do this. But like I said before, many of our people at the Moorish Science Temple of America, even a lot of them got caught up in this rhetoric thing. So we want to bring back that natural feeling, that natural vibe of being in the temple, being in a heartfelt space with each other and amongst each other. So with that, we're gonna jump into this 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 portion tonight for El's Holy Injiyl. Make sure we pay our homage to the reminders that we've been given, because like I say, none of this is scripted. We're going straight in with spirit, and that's the point. Come in with what's on your spirit. You never know. We probably already talked about it, or it might end up being something that we read about it on that very night, and whatever it is that you're making contribution of, you know, it might be somebody out there that need to hear what you have to say. Especially when we taking these lectures and sermons and we putting them on YouTube. So now every one of these lectures and sermons are out there on YouTube, and working on different strategies for YouTube automation. I'm trying to get that thing down, because it's about timing, y'all. I don't know if y'all into the marketing tip right now for y'all stuff, but I will say that that YouTube automation thing, just automation in general, is about timing, just like everything else is. It is truly about timing. So when you post at certain hours, you might not get a lot of plays. So I've been literally sitting back, just toying with the algorithm, but learning how to be in tune, be better in tune. It's just like a musician, learning how to be a better musician, learning how to be a better, artist. Whatever your forte is, the point is to really harness your skill set at doing it. And that's all we doing here, is coming in and tuna fishing, and getting tuned up with the divine spirit, meeting in the divine gathering during this divine time of the mental reservoir, while the mental reservoir is open, so we could continue to witness things as we're witnessing, as those witnesses. Amun, Amin Ra, right? For the things that spirit is revealing to us. As I mentioned a couple holy days back, every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes is a revealing. We going through revealings every day, every minute, especially when you got to battle those negative thoughts that are going and surfacing around your head. So as we push forward, jump forward, quantum leap, whatever y'all got in mind, because some of y'all need to be making quantum leaps that are listening to us, and and really, take the calling. A lot of people getting the call. They getting the buzz in the ear, like Noble Idris just said, like the doctor just said, but ignoring the call, ignoring the call, because you got to come with an offering. What are you offering to the community? What is your offering to the space? You have to come with an offering of body of work, and each and every one of us in here has made at least some minimum valuable offering, or we know what it is, and we getting that calling, and you being edged on by the example that's being set to get off your butt and do the work. Now you have it to where we gonna be on YouTube working on automation, so you're gonna have more people out there hearing us, not just hearing us from YouTube, from Clubhouse. You're gonna have more people hearing these recordings. So this is a chance for you to do your divine work, your divine delivery. Let that message that's coming through you, whatever's on your mind for the week, let it come through. You don't have to be shy about speaking on stage or any of those different type of things. This is a heartfelt space. Nobody here to shun you. As long as somebody saying something, go ahead.
No. I was just like adding to that. That's where I'm at too. Relatively is getting on these platforms and to start, sharing the ether messages coming through me on grander scale of the masses. I know they be hating on my algorithm because my YouTube shit, my algorithm is so weird now. It's just like, yeah, they must be hating. So, there's a myriad of other options out there that aren't so popular of the mainstream platform options that offer the same opportunity of service for reaching the masses. You know what I'm saying? Um, and eventually, motherfuckers got to get back to that dopeness of level to where we don't have to use his internet and we can just plan and communicate and so forth on the ethernet and not the internet. You know what I'm saying?
Yep,
Because
I get you. I get you.
to me, in a sense, it's almost like we, passively dry snitching in our conversations on his World Wide Web, entering his net on his algorithm and his devices and his technologies. You know what I mean? If it's his shit that he's using stuff too, if it's his stuff he's using on the masses and we're using it, for our intention purposes, he still got action because we're using his ish. Or number
Look, let
two,
me give
not
you some.
his.
Let me give you something on top of that. I want y'all to think about something because we talked about this earlier, but I want y'all to really think about it. Remember, it's a melanated individual that became the president of IBM in the year 2000, right? Like we talked about earlier. I want y'all to understand that it was a melanated man that actually created the internet. That protocol was created by melanated people. These phones comes from the minerals that come out of the grounds that are predominantly controlled, operated, and technologically, not technical, but biologically is owned, controlled, and come from indigenous melanated people. Africa is one of the richest places on the earth that still belong to indigenous peoples. Now, the front end of what's being done marketing wise might be in the hands of non-indigenous peoples, but the dominance, that's still ours. So they may be borrowing or using or be the face, but we are still the owners of it. Now, this is what comes down to economics. Like Malcolm X said, If you're not gonna build your own factories, if you're not gonna create your own Walmart, don't worry about saying Walton. You follow me? Cause they ain't doing nothing that we didn't create the concept of. Nothing new under the sun. Marketplace has been around. There's marketplaces all around, especially in if you go through through little Mexico, every state that you probably got, or little Chinatown, you see nothing but markets. Nothing but markets, especially in little Mexico around here, especially here in Texas and Houston. Ain't nothing that has not been done and initiated by us indigenous peoples. Everywhere you go, we are the originators of the marketplace. Now, do we support our markets? That's a different story. A lot of power, and we have to understand that a lot of power is in the hands of us as consumers and the different types of consumers that we are. That's one of the things that I did get listening to the brother and his wisdom earlier today. The power in the hands of the consumer, because we choose, even though we go through real world things, battles, wars that happen, especially for economic control. These are one of the things that we talk about and what we accept as fact. But they may control monitoring, because we do not monitor, even though we are some nosy people. We are some nosy people. But that is one thing that we do lack a hegemony in, which is being spies and prying into other people's business. Because at the same time, we are some nosy people. We also big on mind your business. You know what I'm talking about? We also big on mind your business. We big on that too at the same time. So they do have a hegemony on eavesdropping, if you get what I'm saying, right? They do have a hegemony on that. But those patents, those technologies, these devices, a lot of these things are engineered by melanated indigenous peoples. Even the telephone, that is a melanated creation from a melanated inventor. A lot of these things, from down to your toilet paper, to your toilets, majority of the things we're witnessing and looking at today are creations of melanated individuals, even down to the refrigerator, even down to our refrigerators. Now, are we gonna get into the market game? Is the big question. Are we gonna learn cybersecurity? Are we gonna learn civil engineering? Key things that matter to us as a nation. It's good to have rappers, entertainers, and sports people, but we talking about building up a nation here. So when you have other imams, other rabbis, other sheiks, gurus, thought leaders, etc., whatever, I get it. It's cool to go back and connect with the hood, but don't you think it's about time that we had enough of gathering in the name of being cool? It's
I
cool
was
to be
about to say,
cool.
in the name of sex, drugs, and money.
Right, that too. Everything of the lower self. That's right. And that's everything of the lower self. And it's cool to be cool. Oh, they getting at it. They getting at it. They going at it. Y'all leave each other alone. The cats is sparking today. I don't know this little young cat over here. I don't know if he trying to protect the space or what. He like, hey yo, he charging up all the cats around on the block. I don't know what's in his juice.
That's the Basset energy. That's what
Yeah,
happens when we gather. It'll attract. Like I
yeah,
tell
that
mugs here on their money game, a lot of people chasing the bag. I'm like, nigga, I'm like, yeah, right. I ain't chasing no dang bag. As a god, by the law of attraction and magnetism, I'm attracting the bag. I ain't got to go chasing people.
right. The money want me. I don't need the money. The money want me. That's right. That's the best affirmation to have. And it's the same cat that you heard earlier too. That's the funny part about it.
Right. And that's
But
what, that's what I intuitively I felt that, because he or she been there ciphering with us, throwing they little 3 cents of meows in every now and then in the background. You know what I mean? That's why, and it stood out to me. That's why earlier I had to point it out. I'm like, yo, our cousin trying to say something.
right, right. from from the higher ups. And you know what's funny? That so-called Nibiru Council of the, y'all know what I'm talking about, of Ash Talker Man. Uh, if you don't know, you'll get to know as we go through the Holy Tablets. But they have that one avatar creature called Divan, which is a symbolic of the feline ETs, right? And it's funny because when you think about it, because that's Devon or Devon, Devan. That's how we say a government in Arabic, Arabia. That word means government, divine. So, in a sense, it's saying is like it's saying metaphorically that the felines govern the celestial realm, right? And that's one of the highest archetypes, the archetypes of extraterrestrials as they classify it. But it's funny because we know where they get those concepts from, right? Out of ancient Tamore. And if you look at all of the deities and goddesses, they are symbolic of the feline. Even us being considered the tribe of Judah, which is the strongest tribe that survived out of the 12 tribes of Israel, that are the remnants, who we are the remnants of today. This is what I talked about this past Sunday as well. I'll go back and listen to the replay where we go over the one-on-ones. And these past 2 Sundays, I've been talking about the importance of roof. And before that, we've been talking about the the archetypes of our women. And here again, we here talking about the doorway today, and that door. And just so happen, as the noble was mentioning, Mother Bess protecting the cipher around. Because I'm like, she's scratching, she pawing and scratching, she's pawing and scratching, putting them paws on them. She putting them paws on them. She putting paws on them. I'm telling you, on the other little cats around here. So I'm like, oh wow, what's going on? So as the doctor just conveyed, and we talked about that energy earlier, kind of brought it out in that fiery conversation we had before we got on for Holy Day. But in essence, understanding that when we do things in divine spirit and we're not worried about being stressed out and this, that, and the third, and concerned about perfectionism, we can actually kun fire kun. So smote it be, let it be what it will be. As it is written, it shall be. So, as we know, we are protected by Mother Best. And like I say all the time, we just doing our best. We are part of the B team, not the A team. the beehive, the real beehive. So with that, y'all want to jump? Go ahead, John. Do you want to chime in?
Yeah, just that actually is a kind of awesome point into what I was wanting to say earlier, um, involving kind of like how our society has been really programmed by like these television shows and these ideas of what is a man or what is a woman, and they kind of have created this mentality that may not be relevant in another part of the world. And then you have the technology, coming into play, and talking about the ownership of things when you're dealing with cloud-based, digital signals and digital financing and these imaginary things, which we've already spoken in some of the last meetings about how the money that we deal with in the US or in countries is all digital anyways. So it's not like we're
Islam.
not already there anyways. So it's kind of like, what are we doing? And I think that's my last point here, or the point of what I'm getting at here, is that the youth are looking to become something, and a lot of what they want to become is these stories, or these impersonating these characters on TV, and a lot of that has kind of met the end of its rope, and we're looking at a completely different calculation than what the producers or directors were formulating 20, 30 years ago. And so having a place to move forwards has been really difficult for someone who's just looking to, have that sense of freedom and have the ability to say, hey, I want to be this, this, and this. Why do I have to be stuck doing just this? And so
Islam.
opening that up in a manner that's viable for the adults who have been holding positions for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and opening that up for the youth to start participating without feeling like they're stuck in these rigid requirements of the older world and arguing about things that don't need to be arguing about, really. It's
Right.
all laid out. It's all meant to be a lot more smooth of a process than it seemingly has been. But then again, what do I know? Turtle Island. God first.
Islam. Islam. And I'm glad you touched on that, because it takes us back to the point that Dr. Idris was saying about we basically are giving up a lot of goose to the gander, um, with the things that we say and communicate about on these different apps and these platforms. But I will say this: no weapon formed, as it's always been throughout time and time and time and time again. We give a lot of attention to what can go wrong more than we give attention to those things that actually protect us from the wrong, and understanding those principles, because we have been given the greatest example of what it's like for a avatar, which we know, whether you want to say he was just a bashar, but y'all watching him have sacred ash fall in his hands, but you still classify him as just some regular bashar. Okay. You can watch Saeed Baba manifest the golden egg out his hand, but that's just a regular bashar, right? When we witness these so-called miraculous things, but we're not understanding that there's an advanced being right in front of our faces doing things that the mind can barely fathom, right? And we still try to put them in the box, in this construct of some regular human. Oh, he's just a regular human. I don't follow no man. And the example has been shown to us. If we do not get it together, these are the things that will happen. And you have a choice. You have a choice to step up for your people, for people in general, for humanity, or fall to the wayside as what has been spellbinded on the masses to not take massive action into the things of righteousness, not take massive action into the things of transcendentalism. Not all these other ways and forms of transcending. We talking about transcending with the divine gifts, transcending into the divine purpose. Because we watch somebody set that example right in front of our faces. Come like a thief in the night to some people, because they don't know who we even talking about. Created a whole bunch of culturalisms that half the culture don't even know they following. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. Playing it on their movies, they TV shows. Don't even know who wrote it. And the greatest example has been set. But oh, we looking at this that's mortal. That's a mortal. He got locked up. Or did he sacrifice himself? Set an example for us. Because somebody with that sacred ash falling in their hand out the middle of the sky and doing other, highly powerful things. It'd have been things that happened through me. I'd be like, man, what the heck going on? Kaba can tell you. I'm not in control of it. I mentioned earlier in that fire conversation that we had is I had to learn to get out of my way. I'm still learning to get out of my own way. Because letting the divine creator do what he do and let him control the show, then I can be the best and better me. And not try to control things for my own flesh. Sitting up with the spoon in hand, like bend. Like, come on, you gonna bend. Like, nah, that ain't what your powers are. Your powers is, this. Yeah, you ain't gotta worry about it. Don't worry about what you're gonna say, what you're gonna do, and how you're gonna do it. Just stay tuned in with that higher frequency and purpose. Yeah, you able to do this. And then I start to see them able, oh, okay. Oh, so I got some avatar in me, but I might not be the same and do the same as that avatar. Got you. It all makes sense. Like Doc say, we all some Karen bears. But that example that has been set for us is to really step it up and be brave about standing up for the divine and the divine purpose, especially if we're going to tread something for the next generation to look up to. Because if we keep just giving them, what's being just free will by the animal logicisms, whew, what we doing? Like Jonathan said, what we doing? We got a whole school system where most of these organizations don't even have it for their people to log into and develop on their own. And then we have a doctrine to go with it, y'all. Talk to me. We got a whole doctrine to go with it. Y'all should be doing academic work, colloquial work every day, calling your brother up like, hey doc, look what I found. Look, with research scientific data I found today. Can you throw this in the library, or how do I put this in the library? Because you got your own doctrine. You got a tool to be used to influence the next generation. And we got too much technology out here available to us. And you know what's funny? Especially with the master teacher and the biggest example he set. Because we can talk about the Injiyls, and like I said before, I can tell y'all, we can come here and talk about Abraham and this and that and the third and Moses, how this person, Moses was really touched Moses. We can go, but that ain't what we're here for. But one of the major things that the master teacher was pointing out is the fact that economics, the real things that matter. We want to be talking about the Inkies and the Enlils and all these other things, but not get into the fundamental principles of not just what the master teacher brought about, but what the prophet talked about with the principles and the point of economics. The last sentence that we read in this verse from chapter 35 tonight was Happiness is the economy of life. The economy of life. Economics of life is don't worry, be happy. But we worried about everything that does not even matter. To the point we can't even focus on group economics in the way that we're supposed to. You still wonder why you end up caught back up in doing things as an individual, trying to survive as an individual. And then when the numbers don't add up and make sense at the end of the day, you like, damn, just over broke. Excuse my friend. And the world is changing. The world is going into a whole nother different direction. And we caught up in these disparities. We caught up. We caught up with trying to catch up with our responsibilities and missing the opportunity that we got right here today with being able to create content with each other and do the work. If I had 8 arms, y'all, I'd be getting way more stuff done. I should have had 8 of me's because I would have been in 8 different meetings today. I would have been in the fiery spiritual ministry meeting that ministering that we had happen today. That fire mystery session that we had today, going through some ancient reminders, and then these business meetings that I'm getting called for, so we can take things to the next level. We stepping our game up this year. Got deals on the table this year, real real deals on the table this year. So with that, I appreciate the contribution, Noble Johnson. I'm gonna jump us off into chapter 9 for tonight from El's Holy Qur'an, and we're gonna get into it. This message that came through said, I'm gonna read it real quick, let it load. I get them little biblical messages, and this one's from Romans 8:1. And say, there is therefore now no condemnation to which are in Jesus Christ, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. For the law of the Spirit of life in Jesus Christ had made me free from the law of sin and death. And for those that know, that go back to them doors that we was talking about earlier, the law of sin and the law of spirit, the path of the spirit of life. That's those 2 doorways popping back up again. And it's just some random post that came up from one of them Bible apps. But you see, we just following spirit here. So tap in. Some people not good at making music, but that don't mean you don't have a creative side to you. That don't mean you can't tune into your frequency. That don't mean you can't be tapped in. So we're gonna read chapter 9, which is Alul, which means the shadow hour period. And it changed from chapter 9 to chapter 92 in the mistranslation of the Quran. So as y'all know, we begin our prayers and think about using the name of the source, Allah, the Rahman, who is the most merciful. And the commentary state, the lul, it screens everything. By the afternoon, it unfolds light. Allah khalik, the male and female. He who gives alms and keeps on doing good works. The Anunnaki will lead him into an easy way. He who is arrogant and lies about the peaceful way. The Anunnaki will lead him into a different way.
I like that. A different way. I like that.
I'm sorry, not different, but a difficult way. I read it wrong. I'm sorry, y'all. But you know, same things. It ain't this. It ain't that way. They say go
Sorry,
this
that
way.
was really excuse me.
What'd you say, Noble Jonathan? I couldn't hear you breaking up. What'd you say, Noble Jonathan?
I just was laughing. That was really funny.
Oh,
That was really
it's
funny
long.
because
But
yeah, it's long suffering.
you that long suffering. Look, and y'all seeing how this still aligns up with what we've been saying today. This is how it goes. I'm not putting an order to these chapters of these verses. We just going chapter for chapter for chapter. I'm not pre-reading these chapters or anything like that. None of that's going on. I read them when y'all read them. We read them together. I done read the Quran, many times. I'm reading it with y'all as we read. This is why I say it don't matter about graduating from the temple, talking about you graduated from the temple. Well, if you graduated from the temple, that means now you should be coming back teaching the people in the temple who haven't graduated. And you still should be learning from that. If you're not a teacher, if you graduated, you should be on the administration of the temple. The temple, as we read, is the theocratic jurisdiction of the divine. So your secondary and secular politicians, the reason why we run into the troubles with them is because we're not politically active and we're not electing the people that have a anointedness over their life. This is why a lot of things is going to change, because people are going to start looking to those people who have spiritual guidance. As much as people talk about all of these negative things that are going to happen, like rumors of wars and bombings and the government, this, that, and the third. And I mentioned this before on one of the holy days. That's exactly, and we read this past week with reading the seven thunders from the holy tablets. We're gonna get more into it, but you're gonna have a lot of people who lose respect for government. They have lost respect for government. We going into the seven thunders. That's 2030. It's almost 2025. We're in 2023. So this is why the prophet gave us those principles, because hey, no matter what happened, you was given a constitutional form of government. Do you know what you was given? You have a right, and the master teacher came back and reiterated that same right. You have a right to change who and how you govern yourself. It's going to be a spiritual revival. It's going to be a spiritual revival, not an occultic revival, not a metaphysical revival, a spiritual revival. That means ways of life that have to do with your spirit, which is basically all religions, whether you want to call it a religion or not, and customs, are going to be for the revival. They're going to be reviving, and they will be reformed in a neological perspective. Because if you don't take a grasp of your own cultural doctrine that indigenously belongs to you, and we sitting here in this temple and re-rendering it, who gonna do the work? You can't go out there and find no other organization of people. Now that's something that's actually unique in this day and time. Divinely unique. Atun Ray. My name is Atun Ray. What's your name? Not something that's economically unique. We find that all the time. But genuinely, spiritually unique. So this is why our Nuwabian brothers and sisters, our brothers of the Nation of Islam, they got to wake it up. Our Hebrew Israelite brothers, they got to wake it up and stop all of the divide and conquer. Our Black Panthers, brothers and sisters, even though they don't participate in a lot of the foolery, but they have their own internal things and strikes and beats going on. We got to stop the tomfoolery. So let's go into these ayats as it reads. And al lal, the shadow hour period, when it screens everything, and by the daytime or afternoon, when it tajala unfolds its clear light, and by him not we or us, who Kalik created the zakah or forgetful male, and the unta female or second part, surely your saya efforts are of various kinds. So as for him who gives alms and trembles at the mention, and the sadaka trust, and sadaka trust with doing al husna good works, so we not he, Elohim Anunnaki, will lead him to al yusra, the easy way, nuwabu. And as for him who is bakila, stingy, and astakna, arrogant, and lies to himself about the best way, so we Anunnaki will lead him to al usra, the difficult way. His riches will do him no good. So this is the commentary for the next ayats. His riches will do him no good. It is on the Anunnaki to calm to the right path. The life in the Ula and the Akarat belongs to them. Gabriy'El warns of a fire. The wicked doers of disagreeable will be cast into it. Those who tremble from it will be blown away from it. He who gives his wealth purifies himself. He is only seeking the face of his Rab, and he will be pleased. So the ayat says, and his riches will do him no good when he falls into destruction. Surely it is on us, not I, to calm. In our Ula, the former life, in our Akara, the life in the end belongs to us, Elohim Anunnaki. So I, Gabriy'El, or Nusku, warns you all of a fire that Telaza burns fiercely. None shall be cast into it except the most wicked ones who does disagreeable deed, who Kazaba lies and then turns his back, and the one who trembles from the fire. Most of them will be burned, most of them will be away from the fire. And the ones who tremble from the fire, most of them will be away from the fire. He who gives of his ma'al, wealth, Yatazaka, purifies himself. And no one has any niyama, grace, in his possession, that he should receive a reward. Seeking nothing save the face of his Rab, sustainer, who has a face, who is Rab, al-Allah, Anu, the Most High, and he will be Yada, please. Sudaka Alahu el Azim. So the next chapter is chapter 10, which is not that long if y'all want to read that. And then we can start next week from chapter 10, which is called Al-Fajr, the daybreak, which original chapter was 10 and they changed it to chapter 89. Let me know if y'all want to go into this chapter.
I'm over here in the kitchen, mixing it up. So I'm all ears. You know what I mean?
All right, we can read this one. I ain't gonna put too much on us for the Qur'an. At least if we can get into some of these holy tablets tonight. Let me see if we got time. We'll try to squeeze a little bit in. Probably squeeze in page 1, chapter 1, tablet 1. See how far we can get with that. All right, so as y'all know, we begin our prayers of thinking by using the name of the source, Allah the Rahman, who is the most merciful. And the commentary reads, and the Fajr, the last 10 shadow hours of Itikaf, is there an oath of you who possess an overstanding? Did Muhammad not see how the Enocytes of Ad was dealt with? The descendants of Aram, the possessors of Imad, and the Enosites of Thamud, and Pharaoh, owner of the stakes. So this go back to what me and Doc was talking about not even 2 or 3 days ago when it comes to the Quran just being a reminder of, you remember what we did to y'all? You remember that one? Remember?
Right. Exactly. That's that. That's those on high. Last, it's like they on in. It's like, all right, look, we done tried this method. We done tried this method with this instructional manual during this time period. Now these mugs on this plane is at this level. All right, look here. Ron coming with some heat. It ain't coming with that It's coming with that rah rah rah. Get your ish right. You know what I mean? Get your ish right, or get your butt whooping from the Supreme like Lot. Get your butt whooping from the Supreme like Eber or Ezra. You know what I mean? And keep referring back to the past as a moral of the story type of deal. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
And that's why
right.
the practice of the quote religious or cultural practice of that spiritual discipline was put forth in such a strict, disciplined manner. It didn't have the loosiness of Christianity or other denominations in some regard. It was more strict. Like, all right, look, we about to get y'all niggas, we about to get y'all starched up, creme de la prim. And
That's
then,
right.
and then we ain't gonna holler at y'all, because this is what me and you was chatting about. We not gonna holler at y'all until the intended prophetic time period of the Injiyl. Because after the Prophet Muhammad, there wasn't no beings, higher vibrational beings of our order interceding on behalf of man. Because they had looked at man and mankind like, oh, so this where y'all at? Oh, so y'all really don't want that get back to get right, huh? Okay, cool. Well, we'll holler at y'all at the intended prophetic experience of revelation time. We'll get back with you then. Because they told us that there would be things for us to be aware of and look for as signs, right? That we are getting close or in that time, right? So there are those of us who incarnated frequently through the time periods and were, as we went through schools of remembrance to be remembered or to remember where we're at and so forth. Um, we would see it, we would exist it. Oh, nope, we ain't the signs yet. We ain't here. And when we expired, we recycle back. Oh, this ain't here. Now we here. Now we here. Now we seeing a lot of those measures of the signs, geophysically, astrophysically, you feel me? Spiritually, whatever illy that you want to use. We here, bearing witness to it. You feel me?
Islam.
Experiencing it. And then we got, like the energy of Raphael, as I've seen it superimposed over me that I was told from a woman, because a woman is a seer. You know what I mean? She gonna see it. She gonna receive the images, so she's seeing it. But the trumpet is being sounded. And it's ringing in the ears of those who can let him or she with an ear to hear. You feel me? It's ringing, or the message is being sounded in those.
That's right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? And it's
Islam.
just it's what you do in between time, in the meantime, as a contributing factor to the betterment of life experience on this plane while it's still here.
Islam. Islam.
Woo. All right, let me get back to mixing.
So look, let's go into the ayat. It says wa, which means on, and al fajr, the daybreak, and by the last 10 layal, shadow hour periods, itikaf, last 10 shadow hour periods in the month of Ramadan, and by al shaf, the even, and al wata, the odd numbers, sorry. The 19th of the 30 shadow hour periods in the month of Ramadan was the shadow hour period of power, Layla Qadr, as we call it. And by the shadow hour period, when it passes away, the shadow hour period of power, meaning the shadow hour period of power, is there in Al Watad, oath in that? For those of you who possess an understanding of the forbidden, meaning the occultic, and at that time of the hour, what they call the bewitching hour, or the hour of the angels, for those who know. So continuing, it says, did you not see how your sustainer who is robbed dealt with the ancient Enosites of Ad, the descendants of Aram, the grandfather of Ad, who were the possessors, Al-Imad, of the tall buildings with lofty pillars? Sound familiar, right? Nothing like this was ever created in any of the other Belad lands. And the Enosites of Thamud, who cut Sakar, the stones, to make their dwellings in the Wa'ad valley, and their Pharaoh, the owner of the owner of Al-Atad, the stakes, with which he crucified and tortured, Enosites. So the next commentary says, they were transgressors. The whip of pain fell on them. Yorab is observing all the actions. Allah gives the Enosites honor. Whoever Allah ordained his riz with a little substance. He says he is disgraced. They don't honor the yatim. They don't even encourage the feeding of the miskin. And you love wealth with a consuming love. So we was talking earlier, and Noble Idris and Noble Majestic was talking about that whiplash that's about to come down on us as a people. So this is what this is referring to. That good old whipping, good old straightening that's taking place. Because you're gonna either understand the easy way, which goes against disease, as we talked about last week, because we did go over this last week, and the difficult way, which, hey, you got choices. You can go that way, or you can go this way. God's way, that way, as we said, right? So a lot of them miss out, because they in the bedroom about to get their butt whooped. So as the following ayat states, those who transgressed in the lands, so they caused much al-fasad, mischief in it. Therefore your Rab, Adonia, let the swat, whip of pain fall upon them. Surely your sustainer who is Rab is observing the actions of all. Then as for Al-Insan, the Enosite, when his Rab tried him, so he Nawi, gives honor to him and gives him Na'ama, grace. Then he says, my sustainer who is Rab, who honored me, and as for if he tried him, so indeed he ordained him with his provision, Riz. So he says, my Rab, sustainer, Adonia, or master, has disgraced me. Nevertheless, you don't even honor the yatim, orphans, and you don't even encourage the feeding of the miskin, poor settlers, and wrongfully and enviously appropriate the inheritance of the weak. That's the most, that line right there. We're gonna have to touch on that one right there when we close this chapter out. That's, yeah, y'all. And you
And
greedily
again,
love.
that to me, and again, that's saying to me, again, the duties of those of us as the caretakers.
There you go. That's right,
It comes
trustees.
back to that. Because think about the creator. Think about the supreme, right? The supreme is even in the element of servitude.
Talk about it.
How? Well, if the creator who created you provided or served you with the ability to live, he served you oxygen. He served you what? What? Serves you water, And we talk about the creator as the creator of all that we know all that we know and don't know of existence. So even as a creator that sustains, look at that in one of the attributes, the sustainer. Again, service, caretaking. So, we're after that same likeness, but it's been, as we were speaking on, it's been, damn it, boy, I'm just using this. It's been infected. You know what I mean? It's been infected.
Yep.
It's been, tarnished. And now we side eye each other. We side eye the homeless. You know what I mean? We have abundance, but the each one reach one, teach one. My brother and sisters keeping. Understand the wisdom of principle that was teaching outside of its ethic of knowledge that it's teaching.
That's right.
Shoot.
And these vibrations that we existing in the music today is behind a lot of that. The the massive spell binding, right? Like I said earlier, is behind that. And that key fact that we think that the truth changes from being the truth because we are in a new era of time. No, 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 no. The only truth is that things change. We know things are gonna change, but the truth is absolute. Period. So right don't stop being right because we in the future. This we this I don't know what era you from, Jack, right? Negro, the truth ain't changed because you niggas got a new bop. I like the new bop, but y'all still out of tune with the facts and the truth of the spirit. And now they bragging about being on demon time, but forgot that God is time. You feel me? So let's get into this next commentary. It states the earth is crushed to pieces. When the earth is crushed to pieces, on that day the Malak will stand in ranks. Jahannam will come forth open. He will have hope that he was in the ranks of the righteous. He will hope. The pain of Allah will not be like any other pain. O nafs, at rest, your return to your Rab, enter among Allah's slaves and his Jannat. All right, so let's get into these ayats. It says, nevertheless, when the planet Earth, Hui, is crushed to Daka'a, pieces, and when your sustainer Rab, Ja'a, has come, he can come from one place to another, and the Malaku, messengers, Elohim Anunnaki, are in the Safa'a, ranks. On that day, Jahannam, purgatory, shall Ja'a, come forth, which means hell can also come from one place to another, open, which and meaning that door, there go that door, like I said again, and they telling you basically you can create hell wherever you at, and you open a door to hell wherever you at. On that day, Al Insan, Innosites, shall Yatazaka, remember, but their Dikra, remembrance, will be of no use to them. So when it's time for you to actually start remembering, especially the divine works that we have done here, mute y'all real quick. No, the divine works that we have done here, it's gonna be too late. Like man, them brothers was talking about that new logical stuff and this, that, and the third, and man, that is crazy, man. They talking about a mental atmosphere across the planet and all this stuff, and the cloud and connecting, and now we getting more deeper with it. Not a dream that we hope to come, not an individual dream that we hoping to come to be true. Because we can take this all the way back to ancient Egypt with Mother Neat or Mother Newt, New Unified Temples, which is what we are. unified temples of Noon, period. And you have Mother Neat standing over her husband, symbolic of Shu, the sky, Shamayim. So you can miss the divine alignment that's taking place right in front of you. Right in front of you. I mentioned this earlier to Noble Majestic. Some people gonna know me as Shem. Some people gonna know me as Levi. Some people only want to, be entertained by the work. So I got a personality to entertain. But then you got an older me that ain't about all that playing at all. Even
Noble
my
Shem, when you were speaking,
Islam. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Noble.
oh, no worries. When you were just reading those ayats, and it was talking about the doorway, and what came to mind is, you remember, the old school, they used to be like those game shows, and in a lot of the game shows,
Yes.
let's say, let's make a deal. They give you door 1, 2, 3, and then you get to pick and choose. And a lot of people, yeah, they would get so excited at the idea of choice. But like you said, we are just bombarded with all these distractions, and the people forgot that they had a choice, and they fell victim to those predictive programmings. So when they went to their ministers and, those people who they put in authority over themselves and gave up their choice by asking, what should I do? You know what the choice was in 2020. You can get with this or you can get with that. And what came to mind is that, especially when you were talking about demon time and our youngsters, they haven't heard enough. I got a red bar. Can you hear me okay? Okay, it went away. They have
Yeah, you
not
good.
heard enough. Okay. They haven't heard enough from us in regards to the fact that they have been given a choice. You could be on demon time, you know what I'm saying? Because you're being influenced by, like you said, the music or your peers or whatever the case may be, or you being influenced by your spiritual leaders and teachers, who represent something, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it is a representative of the all or source. And until our people, those who are able to hear, are reminded, that those choices, like even when it comes to the angelic host, you have the legions and you have the myriad. And a lot of people don't even know that there is a myriad. They don't know about the 1/3. You know what I'm saying? That is the minority versus the 2/3. And all these things. So, yeah, I agree. It's a choice. And I know from myself and, living life long enough that those who have an ear to hear will hear. And a lot of people, unfortunately, based upon these distractions and not recognizing their God-given right to a choice, they just fall, victim to these deceptions and these distractions. And, being other than that of, a soldier or, one who is in the ranks, like you said, it's so important. And it goes back to, like you said, what do we have to offer? Because I was listening and I'm like, I had thought, I had told myself, well, I'm up here. I'm guided to be up here. However, being a spiritual person, some of us, we cannot turn off the voice. of the ancestors and the ancient ones and our spiritual guides and teachers, and they're always beckoning us to do a whole lot more than what we doing. And I just have to bear witness to that, and be an example of making a choice for myself. In hopes that the Anunnaki, the All Source, my fellow brothers and sisters, will allow me, in this, I don't know what the best word is, but I'm going to say revival because I think I heard you say revival earlier too, to help us get, to where we got to be and be happy, be happy doing it, be happy in the process.
Islam. Have fun with doing the right thing. It's fun to the mental, but you can have fun all the way to a funeral, to your own funeral at that. So it's all I can say is, Selah, 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 Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. It's not whether anything I have the control of is if, the Igigi, and they got you here for a reason. So, and like I say, we are that little voice in the wilderness. We don't have to be loud about, what we're doing. We don't have to be no super major influences. People not even used to having these type of discussions, especially in a tranquil way. They rather participate in those vain discussions, as we read about a couple weeks ago, in the El's Holy Quran. So, you know, they can go to this way or that way, like you say, they can get with this or they can get with that. And we got to make it fun. We can put a new bop to it, but they need to hear the music, the essence, the prominence from the soul. I used to get with Kaba about this a lot, about, the fact that with Dr. Kaba about that, about just because we're in a new era of frequency and time, don't mean you got to lose touch with the tune. But we don't want to lose touch with the messages that do come from then. So as much as we can, and really should be doing more than what we think we can, to bring those messages back into that new wave, because the point for them to keep speeding up the frequency and controlling the frequencies is for us to forget, for us not to remember, for these things to happen, as as we reading about. And now we walking around as if, hey, we in a new time. All that old crap you talking, boy, that don't matter, you know. And we forget the 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 fact that these are downloads that came through somebody that didn't even know how to read, and say, hey, read this. You know what I'm saying? Read as much as you can. You're gonna, you're gonna write this down, write this down in your language. Woo, 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 woo. And I'm gonna show you how to connect the dots back to the scripts, to the scripts beforehand. And if you start noticing these scriptures, these sacred records, they start lining up with each other from one to the next. And like I say, we've been blessed to get the commentary that we've been getting, because we wouldn't be able to line it up in its true and divine proportion. We wouldn't. We'll be out here, stuck in the wilderness and blinded in triple darkness, not grasping, not being able to actually see the sarat, or the path, with clear vision. We try to make this thing as clear as we can and give y'all the clear vision. This is why I wrote Clear Vision Scrolls, that on front of that cover of that book. We said it, I think we said it here a couple of weeks ago. But on front of that cover of that book is the black pyramid that the master teacher was structuring. And it tell you from the year 2020 and beyond. Because you're gonna have a lot of pushback and naysaying, and he ain't involved and do this and this, that, and the third. And I'm showing y'all steadily how these things align up with each other through divine spirit, putting the things out that we put out, standing up to persecution and slander and all these things. People say 101 things. They're gonna say 101 things about it, from the restructuring of the holy keys, bringing the holy keys back, the book, and how we making reference to those keys, those actual keys, which is the master key in reference, or the Ankh, but we giving it in the form of what they call the keys. They had the keys of Peter. Now we got the keys that was given by Yahshua HaMashiach. The the 8-pointed star. We talked about it this past 2 weeks as well. And it being symbolic of the 144,000. And we giving birth to that frequency, to the children that operate and exist on that frequency, that won't be born into the craziness that we're witnessing ourselves amongst this world. We're developing that congregation of anointed ones globally so we can be tuned in to this information on a global scale. But we're gonna feed everybody with the milk before we start dropping the super nuggets on them, the super chicken nuggets. But let me finish this so we can get to these holy instructions, y'all, because I don't want to hold y'all over. I know y'all want to enjoy the rest of y'all day with your families, or just have time to yourself, to your own mind, your own thoughts, your own brain. So with that, let's go ahead and finish out these ayat. As it states, he shall Yakul say, oh, if only I would have been in the ranks of the righteous doing righteous deeds in my lifetime. So on that day, no one will punish like his punishment, and no Ahad one will be bound as he binds. O you, al nafs, spirit person, at complete al mutmanat, rest, dead, return to your Rab, sustainer, who is master or content, well pleased. So enter among my abdi, slaves, and into my Jannat, enclosed garden. Sudaka alihu el azim. So bring y'all butts home. Come through those who are servants of Allah, who are here to do the divine works of the divine creator. And we do that by teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed. And I'm about to change the link at the top of the room so y'all are aware. Because we got a lot of our people that are caught up in this redemption manual thing, sovereign citizen movement, and all these different things. Did he fall? Y'all got me out here feeling sorry for the record. Y'all look at that. Did he fall
Hey,
at the
hey,
record?
look, hey, look. If you say the raps, I bet you was our lion brother probably got his
I think he was on it. He jumped on his roof, man. I think the little poor fella fell. But oh man, that's crazy. But yeah, we got people out here promoting this redemption manual thing and not understanding you have to be a part of a temple. You have to be on the book of life of a temple. And yes, joining a temple is how you proclaim your nationality and change your political status. Not just changing your status, your political status. You will be treated like royalty. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've lived through it. I know what it look like, smell like, feel like. I've been through some experiences that people want to go through. And we trying to, not trying, we doing the work to give y'all that same experience. So y'all can go through that experience in this lifetime, no matter what age you want to go through the chambers. You should go through the chambers. It's suggested. But not everybody is gonna do that. At least bring your butt into a temple and become a member and get yourself around some active Moors, some active indigenous people. And we helping y'all not go through things the hard way. Because, there's nothing wrong with being indigenous. Nothing wrong with tapping in and connecting with your Indian tribes. But if you want to have something to stand on for as a acknowledged and recognized government body that is considered sovereign to itself, and the suzerainty that we fall under, let me put that word in the chat, is subhanahu wa ta'ala, the source, God. What do you want to say? Thunderbirds, Kachinas, whatever you want to make reference to when it comes to the divine creator. Because everybody scream sovereignty, 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 but don't understand what the suzerainty is. So So we're gonna put the definition in the chat, y'all, to see what that means, and do some internal homeworks on your own. Put this in the chat for y'all, and then we're gonna go through these holy instructions, because it's prevalent that y'all understand why. All right, I got it in the chat right there. Why we say, come and link yourself with the family of nations by proclaiming your nationality at a temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Get connected with one of these branch temples. Come and link yourself. I'm trying to go after my food. Fighting, boy. Hey! Trying to get out the food though. Get up out of here. All right, so I'll be over here fighting with the rackies, boy. The raccoonies. Ah, shit. All right, so while we say, come and link yourself with the family of nations in one of these temples. It don't matter which temple it is, but come get involved. Come join the nation. So let's get into these holy instructions, because we is running short on time here. But I'm gonna read this definition real quick. It says, it is the rights and obligations of a person, state, or other polity who controls the foreign policy and relations of a tributary state, while allowing the tributary state to have internal autonomy, while the subordinate party is called a vassal estate, a tributary estate. The dominant party is called a suzerain, while the rights and obligations of a vassal are also called vassalage. The rights and obligations of a suzerainty are called suzerainty. Suzerainty differs from sovereignty in that the dominant power allows the tributary states to be technically independent but enjoy only limited self-rule. Although the situation has existed in a number of historical empires, it is considered difficult to reconcile with 20th or 21st century concepts of international law, in which sovereignty is a binary concept which either exists or does not. While a sovereign state can agree by treaty to become a protectorate of a stronger power, modern international law does not recognize any way of making this relationship compulsory on the weaker power. Suzerainty is a practical de facto situation rather than a legal de jure one. And that's because of the change and shift of things. But there's some history, you can get into that.
Let me read. Let me read the difference in those two right quick, because I'm on the same pitch. I was following you while you was reading. I want to read the differences at the conclusion of what you read. I'm going to click those and read those, because it says suzerainty is a practical, de facto situation rather than a legal the jure one. So
Mm-hmm.
de facto is Latin, literally meaning in fact. It
Right.
describes the practices that exist in reality, whether or not they are officially recognized by laws or other formal norms. It is commonly used to refer to what happens in practice, in contrast with de jure or by law, which refers to things that happen according to official law, regardless of whether the practice exists in reality. Ah, hope y'all hear what that's saying. I'm gonna come
Mm-hmm.
now. I'm gonna read de jure now, right quick. It says, in law and government, de jure is coming from Latin, meaning by law. It describes practices that are legally recognized regardless of whether the practice exists in reality. And then in contrast, de facto, which means in fact, describes situations that exist in reality, even if not legally recognized. So those of the de jure falsely and they wrongfully write their measures, they debo in asserting their rule of law. Because you see it here. And their rule of law doesn't, as it says here, have to have a practical existence in reality.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me?
Well, what that means is um the law of what de facto what de jure means is natural, like natural law. Even if nobody follows natural law and it doesn't uh make sense to people, it's not natural law is not a reality to people. That doesn't mean that it's not a law. That's
Right, but
kind of
I
what.
had to, I just have to correct you right quick. That's
Mhm.
de jure. De jure is is legal. What does it say right here? Practices that are legally recognized. It says legally recognized, regardless of whether the practice exists in reality. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So like de facto is what it say, the facts, which is nuwapu. We deal with the facts, sound right reasoning, right knowledge.
Right, but like
Just me looking at de facto in what the definitions say, and then it's dealing with a matter that exists in reality. Contrasting de jure, which is saying, well, in law and government, that Latin is saying by law. But by what law?
right, but you got to also understand when we say de facto, that means like secular law, because um if you go into it, like it's saying
Mhm.
by the facts. So if a government come together and say this is law, that becomes the de factatory law, even if that law is not based on um uh actual real principles of law, of nature or whatever. They could enforce that law. The facto goes into the fact that is because if you go outside of Wikipedia and you kind of go more into the law books, it'll start going into those breakdowns. But it's like I was saying that if it's like a natural law, like I was
So
mentioning
you're
earlier,
saying natural law is de jure?
yeah, natural law is de jure and seculatory law is de facto, like what you call machine, like basically factatory. So basically, it's just a fact because they say it's a fact, not a fact because it's a proven fact or based on actual law. The way they word it, it flips it around, especially from how, if like I said, if you get into a law dictionary and we go into it, you'll get the same thing, but they're gonna explain how they explain it on Wikipedia, but it's still the same thing. It's just the fact, like I was saying, if you take account to what I'm saying, natural law is not a reality in secular law. So that's why it's saying even if it's a law that doesn't exist or considered to exist by people, it's still a law. and that goes into like natural law and um like law of physics, or whatever. Like this physics law might not be reality to somebody. For example, like if you running and you see a glass wall and you think it's just a glass wall, you think it's just an open space there and you just run right into it, but that glass wall, bounce your butt back, a couple feet, you know, they don't think that glass wall is there. But when it comes to the jure, for sure it's there. Once once they try to test the law, because a lot of people, if you get into the breakdowns, you got Seguris and um um said Genesis, Sue Genesis, and all those things that people like use as concepts of natural law to stand on. So de facto is like American law, simple and plain, that don't acknowledge de jure law, which is religious rights, like religious law. So to some jurisdictions, you can't come into that jurisdiction be talking about your theocratic or constitutional rights, because in that jurisdiction it doesn't exist. These are the legal laws by de facto, and that's those secular laws that have standing as a de facto. If you notice and if you listen in context, when somebody always use it, they'll always state de facto versus de jure. In a sense, de facto is like, man-made law, and de jure is like natural law by natural right. But it don't necessarily have to be something that exists to to other people. Like that, it's just like customary law. We have our own customary law in the tribe or the temple that might not be a reality to people outside the temple. But that don't mean that we can't walk into a courthouse and be custodian of somebody, and or um you know act as a guardian for them, or act as uh amicus curiae for them, friends of the court, and help them, get out of their court situation by doing either a habeas corpus or court review, because we acting as friends of the court. So it varies with it, but they explain it like that for a reason, because the whole de facto thing is kind of uh standard. It's the fact of law because we say it's fact, not fact of the law because it's actually proven fact.
The way you are wording it in your explanation, with the use of the words, at least to the extent that I just looked them up, and we were discussing, we're explaining. It's calling. No, no, I don't want to talk to you. You have no significance right now. Freaking automation. So
Look,
the way that I'm hearing it with your explanation, it sounds like it sounds like what you're explaining of de facto you're applying to de jure, and what you're explaining of de jure you're applying to de facto.
nah,
And
nah,
then,
nah.
well, that's how I'm hearing it from what it's saying. Because when you're saying, de facto is man-made law, and then I'm thinking, well, damn, I got to do some more research in it, because what it just said is totally opposite. It said de jure is man-made insofar as it's referring to things that happen according to official law.
They
So
go
then I
crazy.
ask you, is official? All right, who's got the background?
That's the cats. They fighting over here like thugging.
Oh shit! What? That was a cat?
Yeah, they fighting, boy. They
Hell,
going at it.
Lyron's going in. But
Well, look,
it's
let me
saying,
walk through this with you so you'll understand where I'm coming from.
well, no, because I don't want to be any more confused. I want to go look it up, like you firstly asserted, because when I look at right here from at least Wikipedia, like you said, you want to go outside of there. So I'm definitely going to go outside. But when I'm looking at just the Wikipedia, it says that de jure by law refers to things that happen according to official law. And
Right.
your word was that de jure is natural law. And I'm like, well, what is official law in reference to natural law? Because the de facto is saying that practices that exist in reality, whether or not they are officially recognized by laws or formal norms. So to me, de facto sounds like existence that it says in reality that isn't determined by man-made influence, hence official recognized laws, or the other man-made influence, formal norms. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm like, hold on, man. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. Because the way they flip it, but like if you look at it, D is jur, like for law, like by law. If you just look at it by its etymological meaning, it'll kind of give you insight. De jure means by law, and then de facto would be by fact or in fact, right? So it's a fact because we say it's a fact, but de jure means it's a law by law, just official law, like a law of physics, if you get what I'm saying. That's why it goes into natural law, because it starts going into laws of science, laws of grammar.
Right, that's where I
Um,
would need to go in more because it say by definition, the etymology. I agree with you there. It say it means by law, and that's where earlier, if we remember, I was like, by whose law? By law of what? You know what I mean? Because it leaves it so open ended.
and law don't belong to nobody. Remember, let's go back to what we just read with the divine creator. That's why I'm going into the word, and I took us into the word suzerainty, because the divine creator would be the suzerain, the power over our sovereignty. We have freedom. We have the free will to do whatever we choose to do, with such and such. But the suzerain power over that sovereignty for us to self-rule is the theocratic, you get what I'm saying, authoritarianship of the Most High, of the divine creator. You follow what I'm saying now? I don't know if you can hear me.
Right. So and that's where that's where outside of from the elaborate explanation of application of the word, right? That Wikipedia or he or she whoever made that article did, just keeping it at the base point. I'm with you in understanding that without applying the other additional interpretations of it. You feel me? If we
Mm-hmm.
just looking at if we just looking at de jure meaning by law, and then we transcend the understanding of that as you were expressing regarding the Most High's law.
Right. Theocratic. That's right. That's
Right.
why I was
Okay.
saying it. Now you really taking it to you really going into the point that I was making about you can't look at it from a religious controversial standpoint, that word theocratic. You have to look at it from an actual legal or lawful standpoint, which takes you into the fact that God is the government of the universe. You follow what I'm saying? Like we just read
Right.
in
Right.
chapter
That's the
35.
supreme. That's the supreme de jure per se, or bylaws. Those are the supreme laws or bylaws. You feel me?
Right. The jurisdiction. And the jurisdiction is your represents your political status. What jurisdiction you under, not the paperwork that
I'm
you
glad
do.
you said that word because then that triggered de jure, bylaw, jurisdiction.
Yeah,
Mm.
juris, law, and
Yeah.
diction,
Right.
which means language, the language of the law.
Of
Like we
law.
went into that before, right?
Right.
And these are not words of art, these are words of the divine law. And that goes into grammar. This is why the master teacher took us into the heavy grammar behind the Qur'an, the Torah, the
Right.
Sumerian language. You follow what I'm saying?
Right.
So we
Mm-hmm.
will not be having spells put on us because people say this is the de facto facts. Well, them facts might belong to you, but that ain't the truth. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
Truth is art. You follow? Truth is
Right.
law. Not facts. Facts is factory, like a factory. You see what I mean?
Or they say facts to be
It's manufactured.
manufactured. Okay.
Right. Mechanical. Customs of men, not customs of the divine source. Natural laws of physics. You see what I'm saying? Natural laws of metaphysics. Real metaphysical law. You follow what I mean?
There it is. Oh, my bad, my bad. I told you, I'm in the kitchen mixing now, so I'm stirring up my grub. I see it's doing the dang thing. Okay.
Nah, I'm with you, Noble. Let me go ahead and jump into these holy instructions. 'Cause I don't want to keep y'all all night. But I'm glad you took that point home because people in the recording is gonna need to hear that and understand those points because they probably hear it, but don't. A lot of people don't really get those things. And then we driving home the point of what we saying that if you fail to obey these laws, then you're gonna have to deal with Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, the divine creator. It ain't got nothing to do with us, you know. So then we don't start to backlash the Christians because they preach that turn of the cheek stuff, because hey, at the end of the day, I'm gonna defend myself because in the same voice that I was told to turn the other cheek, I was also told to defend myself in the presence of danger. But at the same time, if the presence of danger is not imminent, then I'm gonna let karma get to you. I'm gonna let the laws of nature get to you. You follow what I'm saying? Let the ancestors deal with you. So with that, y'all, we went into civics, the study and understanding of theoretical, political, practical aspects of our citizenship. We talked about that. We went into our rights and duties. We talked about the civic law, the civic code. We just went into that and gave some attention to that. And based on how we look at it as world citizens, as opposed to external factors of government, which represents those instrumentalities, agencies, and things like that of government, but the actual function for us and mannerisms and ethics and all those things for us as citizens of civil law, civic code, and just civics in plain and simple. We touched on our civic virtues, which is the cultivation of our habits, and we touched on civic engagement, how we're supposed to engage with one another, and the process of coming together and taking care of these things. We're gathering in the name. We're gathering under this mental reservoir to have these discussions like what we're having today, and dialogue, and not just get great knowledge in a sermon and a great lecture, but also to ask questions and come together to really tackle these issues of current events and things like that. We didn't get a chance to really go into current events. We know there's a lot happening in the financial thing. I'm sorry, financial thing, but the financial world, and a lot of laws changing. The government, as far as the federal government, is talking about doing, a CBCD. Fed now just happened. The brother from Cash App, something happened to him. I don't want to go into all the bad news about it, but the brother's no longer with us, and uh, you know, Texas, they succeeding from the nation. They talking about succeeding for the nation and creating their own currency here in the
Back
nation,
by
backed by
gold.
gold. And it's a lot of things that's happening around us as we continue forward. But these are signs for us to stand
Right.
stand square, surely and fully and for surely on our sovereign theocratic government that has its public and lawful acknowledgement. And like I said, don't matter what tribe you from, come in so you don't have to put yourself under subjugation under the BIA, and face that situation of being a micronation under the sovereignty of the U.S. versus being under the sovereignty of Subhanahu wa Ta'ala the Kachina, the Thunderbirds, whatever your deities are, and 9 times out of 10, especially as indigenous peoples, those are the sky people. Those are the sky people and the divine forces of nature, which is the governors of these these tribes and indigenous peoples across the world. So with that being that, let's jump into these holy instructions. As we know, Friday is the holy day. O you who know, when the call is proclaimed to supplication on Friday, the day of assembly, hasten earnestly to the remembrance of the Heavenly Father and Divine Mother, and leave off business and traffic. That is best for you if you but knew. And when prayer is finished, then may ye disperse through the land and seek the bounty of God and celebrate the praises of God of 10 and without stint, that ye may prosper. All chaplaincy, temple services, and meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God of law. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims and peacemakers all over the world. This is according to Act 2 of the Divine Constitution and Bylaws by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, which states all temples and subordinate temples are to conduct holy day service every Friday, starting promptly at their respective time and ending promptly at their respective time. All civilians, patrons, denizens, prospects, and ministers are expected to attend the temple for the Friday holy day temple service and meeting. On Fridays, the Moorish American, Moorish Asian, and Moorish African Muslims and peacemakers all come together to supplicate and to illustrate that which Allah has blessed them with. The temple services are open according to divine love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. At no time will templars, adepts, ministers, patrons, or outside congregational guests be allowed to disrupt the holy day service, nor will civilians be admitted under the influence of alcohol or any severe intoxicant. All templars, adepts, and civilians attending the holy day service must have their heads covered with either a turban, fez, or kufi, or spiritual covering. Baseball caps should not be worn in the temple or during temple service. The Sunday school temple service and meeting is mandatory, and all Moorish nationals, templars, and temple denizens must promptly attend the temple service and send their children to the Sunday school gathering. The teacher must conform himself and herself to the Temple 101 questionnaire and let every civilian man, woman, and child exercise his or her 5 senses who is able to do so. Because from out your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation and now the entire global village. According to Act 5 of the additional laws by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, every subordinate temple should have 2 Sunday school gatherings held. The first meeting should be held 1 to 2 hours before the adult service. Children's Sunday school should be conducted by a director of the Children's Sunday School and programs. The Sunday school gathering is designed to assist the temple in learning the Temple 101 questionnaires and developing an understanding of just what these holy keys mean and how they are to be applied to our everyday lives. The Divine Constitution and Bylaws, along with the Moorish Prayer, the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation, El's Holy Injiyl, El's Holy Qur'aan, and the civic editions or lessons of the Holy Temple of Moorish Science are also subjects of major concern for the apprentice who is trying to complete his or her mandatory requirements for pronouncing their temple civilianship and global nationality. All lessons for adult Sunday school gathering must be prepared by a Grand Sheik, a divine minister, or an assistant Grand Sheik. Lessons called by us novites editions may be submitted to the apprentice for completion and returned to the temple. Once the lessons are completed and graded, they must be placed in the active members' temple district file. The Sunday school temple service and meeting is a wonderful opportunity to study the liturgy teachings of the prophet. No civilian is to become disruptive during the Sunday meeting. All templars must bring paper and pen to the temple service and meeting along with the basic temple literature and assignments. No templars or patrons is to eat food or other snacks during the temple service or meeting, but water is permitted. All templars must attend their Sunday temple service and meeting as diligently as they attend their holy day temple service and meeting. Both are called out for by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali and is required as a matter of temple law. According to the Divine Constitution, Act 7 in part, all templars must promptly attend their temple services and meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and now also Moorish Science Temple of Africa, and Moorish Science Temple of Asia, and in joining world islands on behalf of all indigenous peoples. For membership, any heads of temple of all temple jurisdictions are not to charge for naturalization or to overcharge for cards, buttons, or anything issued by and through the prophet. Those who contribute to any of the proceedings are not Moors, civilians, or patrons, but robbers. Temple nationality and membership in the Holy Temple's vast estate or public beneficiary trust, sisters and brothers, kin and kinfolk, is free, not only here, but all over the world. All kin and kinfolk desiring to become a civilian of a subordinate temple must follow these instructions from the temple secretary and acquire the application for naturalization found on our temple website at holytemples.org. The secretary of the temple's jurisdiction will help all newcomers by explaining the naturalization affidavit and application for membership in the temple's vast estate or public beneficiary trust. to the new prospective civilian of the temple's vast estate, or what we call a public beneficiary trust, and arranging for him or her to be consulted by the royal council of said temple or subordinate temple. The royal chairman or woman will set the date for the new temple prospect to be interviewed by the royal council. The new temple court civilian, upon completion of the royal council's consultation at the newcomers' gathering, Sunday school gathering on Sunday, the new templars will proclaim their temple nationality at the next upcoming holy day temple gathering. After the new civilian prospect proclaims his or her nationality, they will be given the mandatory requirements necessary to earn their free national name and royal title of nobility as a true American royal. These requirements are as follows, and in accordance with chapter 47 of the Moorish Circle 7 Holy Qur'an, called Egypt the capital dominion of empire of the capital dominion of the empire of Africa, chapter 25 of the Moorish Qur'an, called the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation, the Moorish prayer, including the one-on-one Quran questions for Moorish Americans, Asians, and Africans, the divine constitution and bylaws, the additional laws, and the precepts, statutes, and ordinances from El's Holy Torah, El's Holy Injiyl, El's Holy Qur'an, the Holy Tabernacle Family Guide, and also the Holy Tablets, through our Civics 101 course in the Global Interdependent School District and Sacred Halls of Learning, which is called New University by us of the Holy Temples of Moorish Science, for everyone of the global village. Once a new civilian or template has learned these additions or lessons verbatim, or to the best of their ability, he or she will be interviewed by the temple's royal council as the chaplaincy to determine if the new civilian is qualified to represent himself or herself as a faithful Moorish American, Moorish African, and Moorish Asian Muslim, or any indigenous peacemaker, and communicated to the ignorant for their instructions, and communicated to the wise for thine own improvement. Once the new civilian or template has cleared the mandatory requirements with the royal council, he or she will be naturalized by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister of said subordinate. So it's just that simple. You don't have to go through all that paperwork stuff that people tell you about. Get to authenticate your birth certificate, get the loan form, and this, that, and the third. If you want to learn some true practices of asset protection, which is what people are trying to get you into, just start studying the law and things that jurists study. Simple. Become a scholar of the law. Even I went and got me a legal administration certification, so I can technically be a paralegal. But at least get your basics so you know what you're talking about and how to actually explain legal theory. Because a lot of the stuff we be putting out here to our people is misinterpretation of what we're reading. And you send somebody to look at the law and they say, well, say this and this, that, and the third, and you don't got to do this and got to do that, and that ain't what the law say. So we got to put on our thinking caps and learn to read and actually become Moorish lawyers, Moorish counselors, Moorish judges, and things like that, which you have the ability to do here in the temple. If you get a chance to get an adept certificate, you will see that you passed the bar 7 times or 6 times over. Meaning you passed the bar 6 times over than what the lawyer has done, just by knowing God's law. So with that, we're going to get into our Holy Shahada, which is the proclamation of one's nationality and the actual procedure for it, which will be held on Holy Day for all civilians, denizens, templars, peacemakers, or Muslims all over the world. During the ceremony, the new civilian or templars will be ordained in El Bay or Day and given his or her royal peerage title of Kin, Honorable, Lady, Noble, Nin, Naya, Prince, or Princess by a Grand Sheik and or Divine Minister, and also receive his or her nationality card and button from the Divine Minister of the Grand Major Temple, which you all could click that block of words at the top that say World Temple, go through our members list, look for Brother Kenneth L, send him a message, and then he'll confirm with me that you are who you say you are, and a member of the temple, he'll get back with you. But be patient with the brother, he is busy. He does be busy. Upon conclusion of the nationality proclamation, the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister will have the civilian templates and temple prospects stand while he or she reads the authority of the Moorish Science Temple of America. It is by virtue of the Religious Corporation Act document that can be found in Herod's revised statutes that gives the Moorish Science Temple of America, Asia, and Africa the authority to restore the nationality and birthrights of the lost Asiatics of America, Asia, Africa, and all world islands, and give them the title to their vast estate and their heritage. The Grand Sheik and or Divine Minister is to read from the card and have the new national state, Allah is God, and Noble Draw Ali the Prophet. And I am Moorish American, African, or Asian, and or world islander. This is our Moorish clarification of faith, or Shahada, and our national pledge of allegiance. The new civilian or templates free national name should then be added to the temple's book of life as they enroll in the Civics 101 course and our complimentary World Civics Club. The nationality ceremony should be conducted by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister, or any other Divine Minister so designated by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister in his or her time of absence, and most notably by the Assistant Grand Sheik and Divine Minister. The nationality card and naturalization application must be signed bearing the name and title of the Grand Sheik or Divine Minister who issued the application and card and the date of its issuance. The Religious Corporation Act is deemed the Global Interdependent School District and the Incorporated and Chartered Moorish Science Temple of America, Africa, and Asia as a religious trust and theocratic government established in 1928 on August 20th. This religious trust is the true global trusteeship system for the Holy Family of Nations, forming the global nucleus. With that, it's just as simple as understanding. Bring your butt here to the temple Friday, come back Sunday, get into school, go through the school, get as much as you can done in the school, connect with Brother Kenneth L, get your card, come back next Friday, claim your nationality, and we're gonna do the ceremony right here, and you read it out and put it on the record for the record. Just that simple. Not all this paperwork pushing. Now you on the record, and this temple is on the records in Cook County. Temple number 24, we are on record in Cook County, Chicago. We are part of the Unity Temples that are on record in Cook County, Chicago. So with that, y'all, let's jump into our mandatory literatures for the night so we can close out. Like I said, I don't want to keep y'all here all night. Make sure we close the temple. Supposed to close the temple like almost 20 minutes ago, but we had to get some things out. We had a couple distractions tonight. Got cats in the background sparring each other, raccoons, and just all kind of stuff. But nonetheless, we make it do what it do, and want to give this message to the members of the Temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America, especially y'all that's here with me tonight. The Prophet gave us some instructions, so I want to go ahead and go over those instructions. Islam, the Prophet says, "Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is now on, but the weak can comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I, Noble Drew Ali, and that's why many hearts have been turned to stone, and many have eyes to see, but cannot see, ears to hear, but cannot hear, lest they will be confounded of their sins. These are the trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temple. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. True peace, your divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali." So with that, y'all, I want to go ahead and extend the olive branch to those that don't have a temple home. So y'all want to go ahead and grab that link before I change it here in a second. But I want to extend that olive branch to those that'll be coming back, listening to the replays, listening from YouTube, wherever you might be listening from. And join us and be here every week. Come get involved. Might have to have some of y'all take some of these readings off, so that way, like Dr. Idris was trying to get me to do earlier, I can take a break because I do be going, and we be going for hours. But I didn't got used to really going through the whole cipher and all of the segments that we supposed to touch on here. But as I say, it ain't gonna be like that forever, and the help is needed, but the work will get done. So I do appreciate that and all the help that's contributed and shared and delivered, especially all the equity and hard work that we have put in and haven't seen a dollar back from it, because we're not doing it for the dollar. We're doing it for equitable purposes and to master what we're about to be managing here as time continues on, as we build these skill sets, especially with managing real estate, communities, land developments, city developments, financial system developments, understanding the practicality of the different softwares, chemicals, even the basic things that us imams have to be aware of if we're going to be the ones out front representing this leadership. We have to understand the fundamentals of everything when it comes to society around us. Even if we're not advanced in different areas as others, we still have to have that fundamental knowledge of everything and how it functions. So, as I was saying though, we are extending the olive branch to those that don't have a temple home or a space to call home. We are extending this olive branch to you all to join us, especially branch temple number 24 of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We are a global temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We are a chartered and incorporated temple, branch temple number 24. Like I said, a part of the unity movement of the Moorish Science Temple of America within the divine movement. So for y'all, I want to go over this message that the prophet has, and the prophet speaks as he speaks to the nations through this message. The prophet says, if you have race pride and love your race, join the Moorish Science Temple of America and become a part of this divine movement. Then you will have power to redeem your race, because you will know who you are and your forefathers were. Because where there is unity, there is strength. Together we stand, divided we fall. Come, good people, because I, the prophet, sent to redeem this nation from mental slavery, which you have now, need every one of you who think that your condition can be better. This is an open field to strong men and women to uplift the nation and take your place in the affairs of men. If the Europeans and other nations are helping me, why not you? It is your problem. The Negro problem is being solved only as it can, and that is by the Moorish national and national divine movement. If you have a nation, you must have a free national name in order to be recognized by this nation as an American citizen. This is what was meant when it said, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things will be added unto you by the prophet. All right, y'all. So I'm about to change the link at the top of the room. Y'all want to clickety while you can. Make sure y'all are enrolled in the school. The school is important. It is for you. It's for you to do your work. Stand on your own merit as a Moorish American. All Moorish temples have civics. That's just that. And we have other classes that we're gonna be getting into here later on as time continues on. But I'm only handling what I could bear right now, and that's at least making sure I keep us functioning every week here during our holy day and our newcomers gathering, and attracting as many people as we can get to come into themselves and link themselves with the family of nations. We are a globally recognized global citizenship school through UNESCO, through the United Nations. We are officially a global citizenship school, and I'm considered a global ambassador. So everyone who enrolls in that school are considered global citizens. And as you go through the school, you're gonna learn how to take your global citizenship courses and things like that too, and not just proclaiming your sovereignty as a Moorish American, as a Moorish national or American national, but as well, because you're not a refugee, you're not a stateless person, you're not a non-resident alien, none of those things. Because if you're an alien, what other de facto country do you come from to say that you're a non-resident alien? A lot of our people get into things and they don't know what the heck the full complete definition is, and then they go off of a half-cocked definition, and now you just messing it up for everybody that follow belong for something that you halfway studied. Things don't work that way. This is a royal court as a temple. This is why we're able to act as amicus curiae and help our people out. But we got to get our royal council together. We got to get the royal audience on the right path. And we want to attract people within the royal audience, as we just read, in this open field. It's an open field, strong men and women, to do the divine work. So I'm going to change the link here at the top of the room, which I just did. You can get involved and join us through that link there, joining the royal audience. I'm about to read these mandatory messages from the prophet. I'm going to close out for the night. But if any one of y'all do want to start helping out with the parliamentary opening, just go back, study the replay so you can kind of see the format of doing the temple opening. And that way you can help us do the opening officially, because it is a lot of reading and flipping back and forth. And then sometimes, as y'all know, I don't even be seeing the stage and be like 20, 30 people that came through and didn't even know who all came through. Like, I don't even remember, like I said, I think you say 9 people came. I don't even remember all 9 people that actually came through. I remember the main people that was in this room right now. Only person that I think that left was Noble Sade. Anybody else that came in the room, I did not see them come in. So,
Oh, in
we
here?
want to, yeah, Islam. Yep, I ain't even see them come in. But this is why this is why I'm saying what I'm saying. We're going to get organized better and better. The more you come, the more you'll understand the flow, the structure. And we putting this content out on YouTube and other platforms eventually, wherever they are surface. And if y'all want, I can send a link to y'all when I get done uploading it for tonight. And we are on lecture number 59 officially. So we're going to keep going. We're going to keep working our way up. On these lectures. We're gonna keep being here every Friday doing the work. And as I've mentioned, we're gonna be stepping our game up, taking this to the next level, to where it needs to be, where it needs to be brought. And we're not here to be, all in people's videos. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all know what I mean. Come over to Life Row. But in all seriousness, this is the year of doing our best, better than we was last year. Like I said earlier, we on the B team, not the A team. Not just no one alpha by himself, but the B team, the beehive. And we got to keep our divine mothers protected and alive and functioning. We got work to do for the soul of divine nature. And that is symbolic of us here, incarnated, emanating, and embedded as flesh and bashars on this planet Earth. So with that, y'all, let's go into the warning from the prophet. These warnings from the prophet. The prophet got mandatory readings that he wants us to read here at every temple service. So we're going to jump right into that, y'all. So the prophet sends this warning out to all Muslims, peacemakers. That's to be read in every temple service. The prophet say, I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We're for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your card to Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Ali, and if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful way. True peace, Noble Ali. That state, what state of mind are you in? As I asked earlier today, what state of mind are you in? Are you in the state the prophet finding y'all in? Or coming out of those mental shackles, freeing yourself, becoming a servant of Allah, slaving for the Most High, not slaving for the world, not slaving for what we call the matrix, what people call the system of the Dajjal, the Antichrist, those who are against the anointedness of people. And you can feel that anointedness. You better come get some of this juice. You better come get some of this. What is that? Not a chicken salad. It's some anointedness. Some of this splackow. Some of this sauce. Some of this juice. Some of this holy water. Some of this Suhuf. But we can't fill cups that's already full. So come open-minded, come in as a baby. So that way you can learn. Soak everything up like a sponge. Empty your mind. All right, y'all. So we're going to jump into the next mandatory meeting from the prophet. This is to be proclaimed in all temple meetings and every temple service. Islam. The prophet said, I'm glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim that I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me, so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That's why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world would not recognize the movement without me, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my work, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet Noble Ali. Islam. With that, y'all, we're going to go into this Moorish prayer. I want to say this real quick before I open up for any last contributions. But we got to understand that we got to put the prophet out front. Even the master teacher put the prophet out front. So this is why when I had my experience in Chicago in 2020 with Noble Kinnick, Noble Rahim, Honorable Rahim Muhammad, I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. We missing the direction. We see what happened to the master teacher, and we missing the direction. And you got all these debates, are we this and are we that? Moors just mean we are the royal indigenous people across the world, Aboriginal indigenous people across the world. It don't matter what you want to call yourself socially, culturally. None of that matters when we're talking about things of law. So we don't have to continue to have arbitration, and we can end the controversies shortly. Agree with your adversary quickly, because we are agreeable. We stay in honor. As much as these people read these codes and all these different things, but don't know how to conduct themselves by law and the behaviorisms that they participate in and understand the principles, especially a lot of those accepted for value kind of people, and not teaching you what an acceptance is, what a trading or a bank, what it really entails. So, because you don't find that nowhere in the law either. You find an acceptance, and you should read that. But that's another story for another day, another time, another dollar. Um, really, really understand that we as a people got to get it together. Understand, got to put the prophet out front. It's okay, especially those that are Nuwabians, Wusabat, and all that, Yamasi, etc. There's a reason why the master teacher wanted us to learn about the Mahdi, wanted us to learn the true knowledge of Noble Drew Ali and all the others that came beforehand, even all the way back to Deuce Ali, the teacher of teachers. So understand what is happening as we continue forward in establishing things. We cannot continue to parakeet and patronize our own leaders that are not even amongst us, and we do not follow a lick of nothing that they tell us to do. We do not strive, we do not get up every day and strive for a lick of nothing that they talked about. It's good to have conversations and sound all good and randy dandy in the conversation, but if you're not getting nowhere and taking up the work, how many lectures you gonna do about the same thing? Or if your position is just gonna be a lecturer, cool. But when you see things out of order 20 years later, don't run up and say, well, what, we need to come together. Because that should have been what you've been lecturing about for a mighty long time, and contributing to the communeship and us coming together as communities with that. Because the wealth won't save you. We done read this the week to week, from last week to this week.
Facts.
And that wealth, you can't bring it into this new realm of things. Islam, y'all follow me?
Right there beside you, man.
So we can keep chasing the bull corn and the bull crap, but we got to learn real things, real practical things, and get boots on the ground. Real boots on the ground. Get, like I said last week, get out there and get some cuts, some bruises, and some scars. Hear a bunch of no's. It's better to hear a bunch of no's than to be right back where you don't want to be, saying yes sir, boss, and yes sir, this, that, and the third. And it's somebody you don't even, connect with really, especially on the same divine purpose and level. So if you want to be doing what your divine purpose is, and getting after that, what your divine calling is, get out here and get those bumps and bruises, such as we done went from couch surfing, the whole nine, traveling the world, traveling not the world just yet, the whole world, we're traveling this nation. We getting to traveling the world, but you from one side of the nation to the other, getting this message out, doing the divine works, couch surfing, doing services, not getting paid for it, making developments, doing plans, architecture and work, people coming in and ciphering our plans and things like that. But as we said last week, none of this stuff can be stopped nor changed or even perfectly replicated, because this is a divine inherited project by this particular congregation of people. Like I said earlier, some of y'all will know me by H.I.M. Some of y'all will know me by Lawiy. Some of y'all are gonna know me by Atun Ray. Some of y'all gonna know me by Anun Ray, and whatever other name that we make reference to when we go through these different degrees, especially what we about to get into here as we keep going forward. Like I said, we on lecture number 56. We gonna keep going. Make y'all contributions, participate in, and as I say, y'all got y'all doctrine, build on it, work on it. It's there for you. Don't leave somebody else to govern you, because if you don't govern your mind, somebody else is gonna govern it for you. And that's basically, like they say, all God means is government. So if you don't govern your own mind, for sure somebody else is gonna govern it for you. And with that, let's get into this Moorish prayer and last contributions. Anybody got any last contributions they want to add on? We went all the way to 10 o'clock. I ain't mean to keep y'all that long, no. I'm sorry. True peace. Give y'all time to come to the mic if y'all want to make any last contributions. All right, so if that's the case, let's go ahead and close out with the prayer, y'all. I'm sorry for keep y'all long, but we had to get these things out. Y'all know how I go: 2 fingers up, 5 fingers up, facing the east, feet at a 45-degree angle. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through His holy prophet, Noble Joe Ali. Amen. Wadu Huwa. See y'all this
Wa
Sunday.
shalom.
Hagatel. True peace. Selah. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. See y'all this Sunday.
Yeah, just keep your line open through the what you call it. I'll hit you here in a little bit.
All right.
All right,
I got
one.
you.
Peace, everybody. Peace and love.
Ashug, y'all.